Last May, a rivalry was born here in Conway. A duel dominated by pitching resulted in a one-run Riverside victory. This year, Mansfield will try and flip the script to take home their first title in 12 years. It's round 2 between the Rebels and the Tigers in the 2A State Softball Championship on Arkansas PBS Sports. Welcome into Forrest Field at Natalie Schock Stadium alongside the former Razorback, Sydney Parlee. I'm Dorian Kraft. In last year's 2A final, the aces for both of these squads combined for 34 strikeouts. Both Claire Womack and Allison Edwards there are back in the circle. And Sydney, when you're going up against dominant pitching, what is the key to getting the offense going in what very well could be another one-run game?
Attacking early in the count, not letting that first and second pitch strike go by, just being aggressive early on and then adjust from there.
That's a lot easier said than done, especially against Riverside's Claire Womack. She had 18 Ks last year in the championship victory.
And for Womack, she is just a dominant force in the circle. She has a very high strikeout percentage, and it's all due to the good pitch mix that she has. She heavily relies upon her curveball.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, Mansfield, they have been in this position consistently. The third time they have made it to the championship game in the last 4 seasons. Last year, dropped the 1-0 game to Riverside. In 2021, they were walked off by Tuckerman. The reason they're back, a big reason, is Allison Edwards. She is a stud both in the circle and at the plate.
And that she is, and for Edwards, she is a workhorse for this team. She brings the intensity all the way around. This University of Nebraska Omaha signee, she's got 23 walks to 304 strikeouts. That shows how dominant she is.
Look no further for a definition of a high-volume strikeout pitcher than Allison Edwards. 304 strikeouts in 140 innings pitched. She had 16 in this championship game a year ago as we are getting set for first pitch from Forrest Field here in Conway. Beautiful Saturday afternoon, blue skies. The weather has moved through the area from last night, and it is the first of 2 on this final day of the Arkansas High School State Championships here in Conway. Baseball going on earlier, soccer across the street at Estes Field, as Riverside looking very loose here. Their second consecutive title game, their last year's championship, the first ever in program history. They want to go back-to-back here in this 2A championship. There's Claire Womack in the circle for the Lady Rebels. She'll be going up against the Mansfield Lady Tigers. The Tigers' order is going to look like this. It all starts, as we said, with the pitcher, Alice Edwards, followed by Kinsley Ward, Ambria Whitaker, Cole Smith, Daisy Nelson, the left fielder, Trinity Triska, Kinley Van Meter, Shelby Fuller, and Bailey London, rounding out the starting 9 in the order for Mansfield.
And to talk about Allison Edwards, the force that she is in the circle, but she is the table setter for this Mansfield offense at the top of the lineup.
We mentioned the 304 strikeouts for Edwards. Oh, by the way, hit .620 this season, 12 doubles, 3 triples, 6 home runs, 31 RBI. First pitch on the way outside to start it off. Both teams come into this game with 1 loss on their ledgers. The 1-0 right down Broadway, evens the count at 1-1.
And to talk about just those 1 losses for Mansfield, it was the beginning of the season, the loss to Mina, and then the rest of the season was W's on W's on W's.
Meanwhile, for Riverside, their lone loss on the season to 5A Greene County Tech. That was a 13-0 loss, but it has been a clean sheet for the Lady Rebels since. The 2-1 to Edwards. Low and outside in the turf, 3-1 to the leadoff hitter for the Lady Tigers. And one of these keys to both of these pitchers being dominant a year ago, Sydney, is they were able to get ahead in the count, work 1-0 or 0-2, 1-2, really gave them a lot of options as Womack falling behind Edwards 3-1 and skips it in the turf for a leadoff walk.
And for Claire Womack, you know, she's sitting at 80% first pitch strike rate. That is what makes her successful, is being able to throw first pitch strike. But to start off the game with the walk to Edwards, she's gonna respond here.
Kinsley Ward steps in, batting .381 on the season, 32 hits, 8 doubles. Takes the first pitch, ball just below the knees. And if you're Mansfield here, you have to be thinking about that game last year and how runs were at a premium. We get the leadoff runner on. You got to find a way to put him over. Is that lifted high into the sky here in Conway, shading towards the third base dugout. Under it is Biggers to make the first out.
And what's understood to be a tight game, it's all about executing.
That was Blakely Biggers over at third. Here's the defensive alignment for Riverside. Womack, Brooklyn Berry, the battery, Catherine Ridge, Riley Eakins, Kaylee Cox, and Blakely Biggers around the horn. Left to right around the outfield, Bennett Durham, Annalie Qualls, and Carly Jo Womack out in right field. First pitch called strike to the number 3 hitter in the order, Ambria Whitaker. Whitaker 391 on the season, 27 hits. Majority is singles hitter, 25 of those are one-baggers. That one off the outside corner, 0-2.
2 back-to-back great curveballs thrown by Womack.
First time Womack has been able to get of a hitter, 0-2 today. The pitch stays out in the left-hander's batter's box. One-two, skips in the turf, good play behind the plate by Berry to keep it in front.
Solid play by Berry behind the plate. And in talking pregame to Coach Eakins, he talked about the plan of attacking Mansfield today is Womack is going to heavily rely upon her curveball on the outer part of the plate.
2-2, there is the curve, fouled away by Whitaker. That's a nice adjustment. And something that Coach Eveld said coming into this game was that they knew that Womack was going to be around the plate. That's the thing about statistically good pitchers. When they're pumping in a lot of strikes, that means that they are around the strike zone. So he wants his hitters to really try and attack early in the count.
Absolutely, attacking early in the count, not getting behind to allow that outside pitch to be lethal.
Drop for the strikeout, 2 away here in the first.
And a huge strikeout by Womack, utilizing the drop ball on the outer part of the plate. It was the curve that she continued to utilize, but then pulled the string on the curve, the drop ball.
Goes back to the curve for a first pitch strike against Cole Smith. That was the 260th strikeout of the season for Womack as she skips in a ball. The numbers on Edwards and Womack are eerily similar. Womack has allowed just 41 hits on the year, 20 runs, 14 have been earned. She has walked 87, but we mentioned that strikeout number rising as that rise ball goes underneath the barrel of Smith. An ERA this year for Claire Womack of .76. The 1-2 skips in the turf, nearly kicks away over to first. Not in time as Edwards able to dive in safely.
For Berry behind the plate, she is blocking so well on those drop balls that are in the dirt.
And something that I learned from Courtney Deifel up at Arkansas is that to be an effective catcher when it's in the dirt, you have to know your pitcher's misses.
Absolutely, understanding your pitcher's misses.
Lifted, it'll be in the circle. Womack calling for miscommunication, but Womack able to hang on. A little bit of anxiety perhaps, but Riverside able to work out of the top half of the first inning. Allison Edwards stranded on first. As we head to the home half of the inning, you're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Civics education empowers us to be well-informed, active citizens and gives us the opportunity to change the world. Our educators have created tools for parents and teachers to help guide and engage children through the civics process during this election year. Discover ways to talk with your child about being a good citizen and how you can explore elections together with resources available at myarkansaspbs.org/civics.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car, to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
1, 2, 3, turn it up! Whoa. It's going up in here! Let's go!
Welcome back to Ferris Field here on the University of Central Arkansas campus. No score yet here in the bottom of the first inning in the 2A state championship between Mansfield and Riverside. The Lady Rebels coming to the plate after working through the top of the first inning. Here is how the lineup goes for Riverside. It is Annalie Qualls, the center fielder, starting things off, followed by Kaylee Cox, Brooklyn Berry, then Caitlin Ridge, the first baseman, Claire Womack, Riley Eakins, Carly Jo Womack, Blakely Biggers, and Bennett Durham are the starting 9 for Riverside. And you want to talk about a murderer's row. The first 5 batters in this order, Sydney, all batting 400 or better.
400 and better, and over 400 and better on the on-base percentage. This is an offense that has the power, they have the strength of that, and then at times they are able to utilize small ball.
There is no let-up in this Lady Rebels lineup. 294 hits on the season. However, as the first pitch from Edwards misses on the inside part of the plate. If there is a pitcher capable of neutralizing good hitting, it is Allison Edwards. 140 innings on the year, coming in 23-1. She has thrown every game for the Lady Tigers. 304 strikeouts to her name. The 1-0 catches the inside corner with the screw.
And for Riverside, they have seen Edwards time and time again, but what they can expect to see from Edwards today is she has the ability to throw her off-speed pitch on both sides of the plate. I think that is critical, along with her fastball, screw, curve, rise combo.
The 1-1 to Qualls. Lifted high, but out of play. And Sydney, I know you didn't do the game with us last year for this 2A matchup, but it felt like a contest between Allison Edwards and Claire Womack about who was going to strike out more. It was just trading K for K all the way through in what is one of the pitchers' duels for the ages in a state championship game. The 1-2. Off speed, swung on and missed as Allison Edwards continuing the strikeout numbers.
Number 26, Kaylee Cox.
The defense behind Allison Edwards. When you have strikeout numbers like this, you don't need the defense as much, but Edwards does have a good one behind her. Let's take a look at how it is looking. You've got Edwards in the circle, Bailey London behind the plate for the Lady Tigers, Ambria Whitaker, Trinity Triska, Kinsley Ward, and Cole Smith around the infield. And then in the outfield, it is Daisy Nelson, Van Meter in center, and Fuller out there in right field. Kaylee Cox, the Lady Rebels shortstop, standing in. 523 on the season for Cox, the junior. The 1-0 skips in the turf, 2-0.
And we talk about this Riverside offense having the power numbers, getting on base at a very high percentage. But for Kaylee Cox, it's the extra base hits. 12 extra base hits on the season between 6 doubles, 6 triples, and the ability to drive in 35 runs.
Takes the rise ball upstairs, 3-0. And so that is something, Sydney, that these Riverside hitters should not expect much of from Allison Edwards. Doesn't walk a lot of batters. Cox showing bunt, pulls back, and it's right down the pipe for a called strike.
And for Coach Eakins, he talked about, we know that Allison Edwards is going to pump strikes into the strike zone, that she is a strike-throwing machine. So for this offense to attack early, but this has been a very patient at-bat, laying off of the rise balls by Cox.
Only 23 freebies issued on the year from Edwards. That screwball catches the inside corner. And Sydney, I'm not usually an advocate of swinging 3-0, but against a pitcher like Edwards, I might open that up a little bit, because if you know she's going to bring it down the plate, that might be the best pitch you're going to get.
Absolutely. And then in Coach Eakins' terms is after that, she's going to carve you up.
The payoff pitch. Rise ball swung on and missed. Back-to-back Ks for Edwards to start.
And the response by Edwards, being down in the count 3-0 and finding a way to continue to utilize her rise ball to get the strikeout against Cox. This pitch has such late break on it. It stays lower in the zone, and just about a foot in front of the plate, it rises up.
Brooklyn Berry. Takes a first pitch high. Berry 33 hits on the season, 8 doubles, 3 triples. Has only struck out twice on the season. The 1-0. Screw caught on the inside corner. That is something already that Edwards has established. That inside screwball will be called a strike in this game.
She is living on the inside part of the plate with her screwball, and then after that, it's the effectiveness of her rise ball.
The 1-1 to the Riverside catcher. Low rise, swung on and missed as Edwards right now pumping in the strike zone.
She is all through the strike zone. And for this Riverside offense, it's keeping the hands up high and working to be above the rise ball. That also plays a factor into the screwball as well, getting out in front to that pitch.
Edwards trying to go 1-2-3. Goes rise ball, good layoff by Berry.
That is a good take, being down in the count by Berry.
It's a tough pitch to lay off of as well, especially when you're trying to protect. The 2-2. Lifted, foul out of play as Berry stays alive.
And for Berry, she is so short and quick to contact. That was a great adjustment on that swing right there by Berry on the rise ball. And that's something that makes her so successful. We talk about the limited amount of strikeouts that she has, only 2. And it's due to the fact that she is a contact hitter. Her hands are so short and quick to the ball.
2-2 again, off speed, nubbed away. That's a nice adjustment there from Berry.
Especially on the off-speed pitch. She kept her hands back. Let's take another look at this. Did just enough to foul it off to stay alive.
The 2-2. Held by Berry is a 3-2 count. By the way, that last strikeout of Kaylee Cox moves Allison Edwards into 6th all-time in Arkansas history for the most strikeouts in a single season. The payoff pitch. Tipped foul as Berry continuing to battle inside the box. Edwards passing Brinkley Morton of Lincoln, who collected 305 strikeouts in 2022. Callie Kildow of Gravette, still a few places ahead.
And for Callie Kildow, she is currently playing at FAU. They are in the postseason in Gainesville's regional.
Payoff. Lifted, foul out of play. That's right, FAU, they lost to South Alabama yesterday in that Gainesville regional. Of course, we saw Reith yesterday. We go into South Alabama, so we are seeing a lot of players from this central part of the state really go and matriculate into these other programs and have success on the national stage, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, the excitingness of being able to play at the next level and the amount of girls within the state that are going to play at the next level, it is vast.
The 3-2. Off the handle, lifted. It has room, it gets down, drops on the purple turf. As Brooklyn Berry, 7-pitch at bat, yields a 2-out single.
And for Brooklyn Berry, that is a quality at bat, taking it deep in the count, total battle against Edwards, and it's an at bat like that where you find a way to dig in and get the base hit.
Edwards went back to the screwball. It's a nice job there by Berry to fight it off of the handle. That will be an adjustment for these Lady Rebels hitters throughout this game. As Katie Ridge, the first baseman, hitting .402 on the year, comes to the plate.
And with the pitch combo of the screw and rise that Edwards is utilizing, as a hitter, it is pertinent that you're focused on getting your barrel out in front to that contact point, not allowing it to get too deep across the plate.
This matchup was dominated by pitching a year ago. It looks like it could be trending that way once again. So base runners, so crucial as the rise ball catches the top half of the zone.
I think it made it look a little bit higher than what it was, given that London behind the plate was coming up ready for Berry to advance.
Rise ball cut on and missed as Edwards quickly working ahead in the count 0-2. Edwards, the pitch. Check swing. They will not check with the first base umpire to see whether or not Ridge went.
Let's take another look at this swing. She does not go. Her barrel does not cross the plane of the plate. Really good hold by Ridge.
So 1-2 after a 2-out single by Brooklyn Berry, dropped in shallow left field. Edwards digging in, the pitch. Just misses as she tries to change the eye line. I like the decision, though, there from Edwards to go drop ball after a steady diet of rise.
I agree. After the amount of rise screw mix that she's been throwing, adjusting the eye level as the game progresses, that's something we're going to see her go to is her off speed and drop ball.
Swung on and missed. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Allison Edwards as she continues to climb the single season leaderboard. Riverside gets a runner on, but no one has scored yet. It is still 0-0 as we head to the top of the second. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month on Arkansas PBS.
I was actually right behind Jimi Hendrix's bell bottom there.
So the 70s fashion blocked your head out of this photo.
Exactly.
From bondage to battle.
What do you make of him?
It changes the game for my family.
I wish the American public understood war the way warriors understand war.
It's not just another job. You're going in a hot area and someone's gonna die.
Only on Arkansas PBS.
Looks like we have some new help in the marketing department.
Action! Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. I think you need to work on your line better. How about you do it? Family owned, customer friendly. Family owned, no friendly. Come see us at Everett Buick GMC, I-30 at Alcoa exit. Buckle up, everybody!
We never gonna stop.
The Arkansas Department of Health is proud to support, spotlight, and celebrate Arkansas student athletes and Arkansas PBS Sports. Escape the vape. Learn more about the hazards of vaping at projectpreventar.org. Early on in this 2A state softball championship between Mansfield and Riverside, Donnie Evell, the head coach of the Mansfield Lady Tigers. First pitch strike to Daisy Nelson. It is Nelson, Triska, and Van Meter due up for the Lady Tigers here in the top of the second. In the top of the first, Allison Edwards reached via a walk before Claire Womack was able to work around the rest of the order as that skips in.
And for Coach Eveld, who was shown earlier, one of the things that he talked about in pregame is that this is the most level-headed group team that he has ever coached, and they just are honestly unfazed.
Lifted to right field, tracking back, but Carly Jo Womack is there to make the out. Sister to sister, you always love getting a little help out there in the outfield.
You absolutely love the sister-to-sister play, and for Carly Jo Womack, great read off of the bat. She drop step to her left, had to adjust to her right, and that's a great outfield play.
Well, so often when you have pitchers that are this dominant as a first pitch drop ball misses low, it's really easy, Sydney, as a defense to kind of relax sometimes because you're not as engaged and you rely on your pitcher to get those volume strikeouts. So when the ball is put into play, it actually makes the routine plays a little bit harder.
Absolutely, just got to be on your toes. And, you know, there's a sense of easiness to become more complacent out on defense with the high strikeout percentage. But you're exactly right, Dorian, about the routine plays. That's when you really have to set in as a defense.
The 2-0 misses high. Claire Womack 3-0 now on Trinity Triska. Right down the pipe, called a strike, 3-1. Womack looking for her first 1-2-3 inning, won't get it as that skips low in the turf as Womack issues her second walk of the afternoon.
And in each inning, it's been a leadoff walk to get a runner on base. And against an offense like this Mansfield offense, got to eliminate the free bases, the free passes to get on base.
Well, we saw last night in the 6A state championship game where the leadoff walks ended up being the only run for Bentonville as Mansfield shows strikes. It pops off the top of the glove. Good job by Womack in right field being there for backup.
Absolutely. She was there. If she was not there for backup, that would have been an opportunity for Triska to advance.
Just a little bit of trying to make the tag before possessing the ball. Swings through the offering on the outside as Kinley Van Meter now 0-2 going up against Womack.
Then what a game that was last night. Total pitching performance between Harbor and Bentonville.
That was a game where it's a shame someone has to lose as that fouled back into the screen. Every game is that way, but that one a very tight game between two teams, as we talked about, on the opposite ends of the spectrum, with Bentonville, who's been in the title game so many times, Harbor making their first ever appearance.
You could really feel it from pitch one to the last pitch thrown. There was pressure. You could feel the pressure and intensity from start to finish.
Rise ball misses high. I can tell you, Sydney, last year, that is how this Mansfield Riverside game felt, because with the strikeouts, as we got in the later innings, it was, all right, what's going to happen? How is this thing going to break? Swung on and missed off the outside corner. And there are two away here in the top of the second.
And for Womack, she starts her curveball more on the heart of the plate, and as the at-bat goes on, she keeps working it outside further and further. Huge strikeout against Fuller.
Fuller coming to the plate now, as that was Van Meter who struck out for the second out of the inning. Shelby Fuller 125 on the season. Off the outside corner, called a ball. And for Womack, she's really still trying to find that outer part of the plate with the curveball. Hasn't quite been getting the call that she wants.
You know, when earlier talking about the base on balls that she has this season, because she is a heavy curveball pitcher, there's that fine line of getting that pitch called as a strike and called as a ball. And one thing about Womack is she's going to utilize her curveball on the corner of the plate, but when she starts to work more towards the river, the other batter's box, that's when that pitch starts to move out. She gets it called more for a ball than she does get the strike called.
2-1 in the turf. So now the count 3-1. As so far, Mansfield turning in some very patient at-bats here against Womack. 3-1, nubbed over to the right side, collected over to first in time as Fuller is retired via the ground out to Eakins. So once again, Mansfield gets a runner on, but cannot move her into scoring position. We go to the home half of the second. We are still scoreless here at Ferris Field. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month in Passport on the PBS app.
There's this extraterrestrial quality to sperm whales.
Join me, and together we'll turn back the pages of Earth's past to reveal the amazing wonders beneath our feet.
There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you might expect.
These and other shows from Arkansas PBS are available with Passport on the PBS app.
I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family, and part of taking care of them is using a bank that takes care of us. That's why I use Centennial Bank, a strong institution for an uncertain economy. I know them and I trust them. They have a strong financial foundation, which means that my money and our future is never in doubt. Life is busy, and there's plenty of things to worry about. My bank isn't one of them.
Centennial Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Conway Regional Health System is proud to support, spotlight, and celebrate Arkansas student athletes in Arkansas PBS Sports. Since 1921, Conway Regional Health System has provided complete healthcare services to the growing communities of North Central Arkansas. For more information, visit conwayregional.org. Still no score yet here in the bottom of the second inning. That's a look at TJ Eakins, the head coach of the Riverside Lady Rebels, trying to guide his team to back-to-back state championships. Last year, their first ever appearance in a title game ended up coming away with a 1-0 victory over Mansfield.
And a sweet victory that was. And for this season, he said for his team, this is the game that has been circled on their calendar from the start. And when I say it's been circled, obviously they want to make it to the state final game, but they wanted the matchup again against Mansfield.
Well, they will get Claire Womack leading things off, followed by the coach's daughter, Riley Eakins, and then Carly Jo Womack. Blakely Biggers, the third baseman, is looming should anybody reach base. And for Mansfield, we already alluded to it, but it's been a tough go over the last few years. This Lady Tigers team has gotten to this point. They've had quality teams over the last few years, and it looks like we have an illegal pitch was called, I believe. We do, as the home plate umpire now signals that it is a 2-0 count as opposed to a 1-0 count. We'll get into that in just a second, as that stays off of the outside corner. So the home plate umpire, Sam Wimpy, he came out and signaled the separation of hands. And so, Sydney, walk us through what that means.
So the separation of hands, it's going to be called as an illegal pitch because once you come set, you have to go from there. You can't re-separate your hands. I was a little curious as to if it was the back foot not dragging on the ground.
Misses on the outside corner, so a leadoff walk to Womack. And for so long, Sydney, the ruling for pitching was you also couldn't start with the feet off of the rubber. Both feet had to touch the rubber. That's what it was when I played. You had to make sure the back foot dragged all the way through. They've let up a little bit on the crow hop in recent years. Off the outside corner for a ball to Riley Eakins, who's hitting .324 on the year. Eakins, 23 hits, 9 doubles, 2 triples, does have a home run. And you can see Edwards looking over into the dugout. And it's not unusual, Sydney, for a pitcher. Pitching is so much about rhythm. And once you have an umpire call you for an illegal pitch, you now start second-guessing everything that you do, and that motion becomes just a little bit less comfortable.
No, you're exactly right. And once the illegal pitch is called, it starts to get into your mental state a little bit of, am I coming set? I don't want to make the same mistake again, as well as trying to pitch effectively. We can see she's showing it now. She's showing.
I played with a pitcher like this where when she would get called for an illegal pitch, it was just a little bit more demonstrative in the movement just to make sure. As there were 2 illegal pitches called in the inning, which is what prompted the conversation there between the home plate umpire, Sam Wimpy, and Donnie Eveld. So 3-0 to Eakins. Strike right down the pipe. Riverside with a runner on first after Claire Womack was able to work a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the second inning. The 3-1 misses low and in, so the Lady Rebels, the first team with the runner in scoring position as a pair of walks, have put runners on first and second. Still no one away here in the home half of the second.
And you know, you talk about, Dorian, you just brought up the point about getting called for an illegal pitch and that what that does to your mental state and how it can be effective. It also, it allows the offense to gain momentum as well, as it adds a ball to the count.
So Carly Jo Womack standing in, .458 hitter this year. From the left side, shows bunt, pulls back as the rise ball misses.
And I'll tell you, with there being no outs on the board, we can expect Womack here to put the ball on the ground and move the runner. But something that is impressive about Womack is she is hitting .533 with runners in scoring position.
Does have 3 sacrifices on the season as well. The 1-0 to the sophomore right fielder, pulled back high as Edwards really trying to work that upper part of the zone against a sacrifice situation, which is just smart sequencing.
I was just about to say she's going to utilize the rise ball up in the zone, understanding she's trying to get a bunt down to move the runner. She's going to throw that rise ball to get her to pop up underneath it. That's the strategy.
This is why you and I do this, because we know what each other's thinking.
We're in each other's minds all the time.
2 on, no away for Riverside. Shows bunt. That one does catch the outer part of the zone.
And right now for Womack, she's squaring around a bunt, but she's also moving her feet in motion. I would not be surprised here if she also tries to tap a soft slap.
Well, especially because you can see at the tail end of that last shot, the third baseman Cole Smith crashing hard, expecting that bunt. I would almost go hard slap down the third base line to get past her. There is the bunt, popped up in the air, diving play! Caught by the shortstop, Ward. What a snag.
And what a play by Ward, coming over from her position at shortstop as Smith and Edwards both crash in heavily as the hands are squared around. What a play.
That is a big out as the runners will have to stay put. Just gets the ball before the turf.
The impressiveness of her getting her glove underneath that ball at the last second before it hit the ground.
Kinsley Ward making a standout play here in the bottom of the second inning. Should Riverside not score, go back and circle that play by Ward as the turning point.
You know, we've been talking about executing in these moments, especially being early on in the game, understanding the dominance that Edwards has. It's all about executing and moving those runners.
Blakely Biggers now with a chance to plate a run to give Riverside the early lead. Opposite field, lifted down foul territory. Good chase from Whitaker, but could not get there. But it is an 0-2 count on the batter Biggers.
Good chase by Whitaker, but great base running by Womack and Eakins, both tagging in the event that she is going to catch that ball over her shoulder.
Blakely Biggers, 4-12 on the year, 28 hits. Does have 23 RBI. The 0-2. Strike 3 called, froze her on the inside corner.
And a play like that Ward just made, and then the strikeout by Edwards. 2 big plays and pitches. This low rise ball, it is just so dominant through the middle of the zone with just such sharp late break.
Already the 4th strikeout of the game for Allison Edwards. And now Riverside 2 on, 2 away after getting the first 2 runners on. The 9-hole hitter, Bennett Durham, standing in. First pitch offered through.
And what great poise Edwards has shown being called for those illegal pitches and then digging in and responding. That's something that could very easily rattle a pitcher, but very good response by Edwards.
Durham, a .244 hitter this year, 19 hits, primarily as a singles hitter. Swings through the rise ball on the outside part of the plate, 0-2. Allison Edwards, 1 strike away from working out of an early jam. Edwards comes set, the 0-2 pitch. Just misses off the outside corner. Mansfield worked back-to-back walks to start off the inning with Claire Womack and Riley Eakins before Carly Jo Womack popped out on a great play by Kinsley Ward. Biggers struck out, looking the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Back-to-back Ks for Allison Edwards to end the inning. It keeps things scoreless, 0-0. We go to the third here at Forrest Field. You are watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month on Arkansas PBS.
Just as a radio station is getting popular,
You know Peggy writes to that station twice weekly.
the DJ is electrocuted on the air.
I'm a woman alone, newly arrived in a dangerous town.
During a chess match, one of the competitors dies.
Lab found significant traces of poison on the White Queen.
But the team can't figure out how the killer did it.
Only on Arkansas PBS.
Attention sports enthusiasts, get ready to be amazed by Summerwood Sports Complex, the new state-of-the-art facility in Bryan. Our facility offers up to 4 courts spread across 2 spacious gyms, conveniently located off Interstate 30 in Bryan. Whether you're a team seeking tournament glory or an individual looking to elevate your skills, Summerwood Sports has got you covered. Discover more about our cutting-edge facility and check availability at summerwoodsports.com.
The electric cooperatives of Arkansas, through their 17 electric distribution cooperatives throughout the state, is proud to support, spotlight, and celebrate Arkansas student athletes and Arkansas PBS Sports. For more information, visit aecc.com. Top of the third inning, no score yet here in this 2A title rematch between Mansfield and Riverside. That's a look at the third base umpire, Anthony Renshaw. Sam Wimpy behind the plate calling balls and strikes as that one fouled away. And then Mark Thompson rounding out your officiating crew over at first base today. 9-1-2 due up for Mansfield here in the top of the third inning. London, and then the top of the order in Allison Edwards and Kinsley Ward, who made that fantastic defensive play in the field in the bottom of the second inning to really stem the tide. And now Claire Womack has been called for an illegal pitch. So that is something that Sam Wimpy really focusing on behind the plate.
He is focusing on that, understandably so. That's part of the game calling. But, you know, it's also a rhythm thing, I feel as though, too. You know, coming on the mound, having to be set, but it's also just the rhythm between the umpire and the batter getting in the box and getting set.
Swung on and missed on the rise ball. As Womack is trying to work out of the 9-hole hitter. It's a 2-2 count to Bailey London. Off the outside corner, fouled in and out of the glove of Barry. Bailey London, 3 hits on the season. Limited plate appearances for London, only 20 on the season. Though earning more playing time here late in the year. The 2-2. Off the outside corner, called strike 3.
And for Claire Womack, it is the curveball that is getting the job done today. She's sprinkling some rise balls when she gets ahead in the count, but that curveball just so precise, cutting across the outer part of the plate.
Turns the lineup over for Allison Edwards, who walked in her first plate appearance to start the game as Womack misses in the turf, low for ball 1.
And, you know, we talk about Allison Edwards and how dominant she is on both sides of the diamond and the circle offensively, but let's talk about how she plays multiple sports, basketball, volleyball. She surpassed 1,000 career points in her basketball career at Mansfield. And then also four-peated in volleyball, was the 2A volleyball MVP. I mean, like, what can't she do?
I actually had a conversation recently with Lauren Laporte, the head coach at James Madison, about how she loves to see multi-sport athletes because it trains your body differently. It trains you differently mentally as well to deal with the different things that you're seeing. And so one thing that we've seen over the course of the last few years, Sydney, especially at the collegiate level, is the rise of the labrum tears. That's been a big issue with student athletes' health And it's because you have pitchers who are only doing one thing their entire lives, but multi-sport athletes, they're better physically rounded. As Edwards draws another walk, it just keeps them healthier for longer because their body knows how to move in different ways.
No, absolutely, and it makes perfect sense. It's the versatility, and what you gain from one sport, it spills over into the other sport. I love athletes who are multi-sport athletes because you hit the nail on the head. There's so much that you can gain from being a multi-sport athlete. And you're right, softball, pitchers, even just, hitters sometimes, when you're taking so many reps doing the same motion, you're gonna have weaknesses and deficiencies.
Standing in is Kinsley Ward as that pitch into the turf for a ball. Mansfield has yet to get a hit, 3 walks, so they have had runners on the bases, but have yet to get a hit against Claire Womack, who only gave up 2 hits a year ago. Just misses low.
And the drop ball, by Claire Womack, not a pitch that she utilizes much, but I think it's brilliant to adjust the hitter's eye level.
Off the end of the bat, nubbed foul. This is a Riverside team that came into this year knowing they were going to have a target on their back. They brought back 8 players from last year's state championship squad, so that's a lot of returning experience that pays dividends in a game like this. Off the outside corner, 3-1 now, as it's Mansfield who has the opportunity to get 2 runners on.
And it's all about executing from there. It's digging in and finding a way to get the ball on the ground.
The 3-1. Lifted out to center field, tracking back, it's over the head of Qualls. Edwards is on the move. She will stay at third, and there is the first hit of the day for Mansfield. A double to dead away center off the bat of Kinsley Ward.
And make that 9 doubles on the season for Kinsley Ward. This piece of hitting is solid. This is a down and out pitch that she drives her backside, gets the barrel down to it, and the extension through it, driving it over the head of Qualls.
A big offensive spark, and how often, Sydney, do we see defensive plays come back to the plate in the very next half inning?
100% of the time. You make that defensive play, it brings the momentum back into the dugout, and for Ward, the play that she made on defense, that led into that at-bat.
2 runners in scoring position now for Whitaker, who struck out in her first plate appearance. Swung on and missed on the outside corner.
And for Whitaker here in this at-bat, having runners at second and third, 1 out, situationally hitting, wanting to drive the ball to the right side of the field.
Whitaker, 391 coming into today. Takes that one off the outside, 1-1. Whitaker, 27 RBI on the year. If you're Mansfield, this inning could not have worked out any better as that pitch from Womack in the turf. Is this the heart of the order for the Lady Tigers? Whitaker at the plate, Cole Smith, the senior, standing on deck. Trying to take the lead here in the top of the third. 2-1. Line foul down the right field line, 2-2.
We can see from that swing from Whitaker, she understands what her job is here. She's being pitched on the outer part by Womack, already playing into taking that opposite field swing and driving it to the right side of the field. And for Whitaker, she is a hitter, obviously being in the 3 spot. She's used to having runners on base, and she's hitting .472 with runners in scoring position.
The 2-2 in the turf, blocked by Barry. There's a lot of pressure that gets put on catchers as well with runners in scoring position in terms of being that wall behind the plate.
And Barry has been a wall behind the plate. She blocks at a very high level.
The payoff from Womack. Up and out, and the bases full of Tigers here in the top of the third.
And on that pitch by Barry, that was a great job going up and snagging that. Easily could have been a ball that got to the backstop.
So a 1-out walk, a double, and another walk have loaded the bases here in the top of the 3rd inning of this 2A state title game between Mansfield and Riverside. Mansfield looking to capture their first state championship since 2012. They were stymied in 2021 by Tuckerman, defeated last year by Riverside in a 1-0 contest, but with a golden opportunity here in the top of the 3rd inning for Cole Smith, who is hitting .342 on the year, 26 hits, and 24 RBI.
And for Coach Eakins going out there talking to Womack just to settle down, and we saw her defenders behind her just saying, calm down, we're behind you.
First pitch to Smith, swung on and missed on a rise. Smith popped out to Womack to end the first. Takes the drop ball low as the count now even at 1-1.
And she's starting to utilize the drop ball even more, adjusting the Mansfield hitter's eye level. She's been utilizing the rise ball. They've been laying off of it, shown in the walks.
Infield playing in the base paths as that stays up and out. But you would have to think, Sydney, in this situation, drop ball going to be a little bit more situationally useful where you're trying to get a ground ball so you can get a force out at the plate.
Absolutely, that's what you want. You want the ground ball out.
Infield will look to cut the run at home, the 2-1. Taken by Smith, and the count now 3-1 with nowhere to put the number 4 hitter for the Lady Tigers. Womack digging in, the pitch lifted high in the air. Tracking back is Eakins. She has it. Runners will have to hold as it was on the edge of the infield. And based on the hand signaling of Renshaw over at third, I believe that also invoked the infield fly.
Yes.
So Riverside able to partially work out of a jam here in the top of the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, 2 away still. Daisy Nelson takes a first pitch ball low. Nelson flew out to left field to start things off in the 2nd.
And for Womack, that was a huge statement pitch with bases loaded, getting the fly out by Smith.
Not out of the woods yet, lined right to the shortstop. Nelson put a great swing on it, but Riverside able to come up with the defensive play. Mansfield loads the bases, can't push a run home. We are still scoreless here in the 3A state final. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Over 2,500 team members across 17 local electric distribution co-ops, powering homes, farms, and industries somewhere across Arkansas. We are the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Power and people.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car, to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
Let me take you for a ride on the baseline.
Support for Arkansas PBS Sports comes from Wendy's. Wendy's Cinnabon Pull-Apart and Vanilla Frosty Cream Cold Brew. Available today at participating U.S. Wendy's. Well, there's some bagels up on the scoreboard here at Forrest Field. 0-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Mansfield loaded the bases in the top half of the 3rd They got a couple of walks. The big double off of the bat of Kinsley Ward, the first hit of the day for the Lady Tigers. But Riverside able to work out of the jam. Claire Womack able to induce a pop-up, and a line out off the bat of Daisy Nelson ended the threat. And now the top of the lineup due up for the Lady Rebels here in the bottom of the third. It's Qualls, Cox, and Barry. Katie Ridge waiting should anybody reach.
And for both Mansfield and Riverside, the opportunities to score runs, just not able to execute, but it just displays the dominance that Edwards and Womack have in the circle.
The lone hit surrendered by Edwards in this game as that's lifted off of the hands. High fly ball tracking in and coming on and making the grab is Nelson. A little extra giddy up there. Able to track it down.
The hustle by Nelson. She was playing deeper in left field. Her wheels were turning to come get this pitch. Great initial jump off of the bat. Good hard first step. To catch that far in foul territory, she got a really good jump off of the bat.
That is a long run for sure. There's a lot of room in foul territory here at Ferris Field, and sometimes as that one skied, a little bit easier, but still playable for Nelson, comes on. So 2 pitches, 2 away here in the bottom of the third inning. And it will bring to the plate Brooklyn Berry, who has the lone hit of the day for the Lady Rebels.
2 rise balls, 2 flyouts. Let's take another look at this play by Nelson. Very easy fly ball to come in and secure. And with the way that Edwards pitches, out of, the breakdown of percentage, 38% she's getting fly ball out.
Well, first pitch swinging was Brooklyn Berry. It was another rise ball, fouled right back into the Arkansas PBS Sports banner. Mansfield able to get runners in scoring position for the first time in the second, could not bring anybody home. The 0-1, rise ball misses high and in. Allison Edwards today so far 2 2/3 innings pitched, has only surrendered the single hit, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts in the 11 batters that she has faced so far. The 1-1 just misses off the outside corner. We expected a pitcher's duel, Sydney, and that is what we have developing here on the University of Central Arkansas campus. The 2-1. Rise ball lifted, foul out of play.
We knew last night we were going to have a pitcher's duel. We knew today it was going to be a pitcher's duel. And we talked about yesterday, rather having a pitcher's duel or an offensive game. I forgot what you said, Dorian. I'm all for a pitcher's duel.
I don't think I gave my opinion.
I don't think you did either.
I just want a good game. I don't really care how it plays out. Pitcher's duel, offensive explosion. As long as it's competitive, I am here for it. This one certainly has been that and more. The 2-2 to Barry. Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 6 as a 1-2-3 inning in the books for Allison Edwards. We go to the 4th. We are a third of the way through this game. No score yet. You are watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
When you choose Conway Regional, you're choosing a healthcare partner rooted in your community. With 9 primary care locations in 5 counties, we believe in building lasting relationships centered on trust and personalized care. Let our family care for yours.
Looks like we have some new help in the marketing department.
Action! Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. I think you need to work on your line better. How about you do it? Family owned, customer friendly. Family owned, no friendly. Come see us at Everett Buick GMC, I-30 at Alcoa exit. Buckle up, everybody.
1, 2, 3, turn up! Whoa. What's going on in here? Let's go!
Welcome back to Forrest Field in a scoreless contest between Mansfield and Riverside in the 2A state championship, as we say congratulations to our Arkansas PBS student all-star Dakota Rhodes from Quitman, the sophomore shortstop, a 3.84 GPA. She wants to continue playing softball in college and get a degree in exercise science with a coaching endorsement. Congratulations to Dakota Rhodes, and I love to see all of these future plans for these student athletes, the big dreams that they have. We've seen players want to go into the medical field. They're going to continue playing softball at the next level, exercise science. Love seeing these ladies achieve.
Yes, achieving on and off of the field and just having those goals in mind as to what they want to do at the next level and the next phase of life.
Triska Van Meter and Fuller due up here in the top of the 4th inning for Mansfield. Triska was able to work a 1-out walk in the 2nd inning, was stranded after a strikeout and a ground out on the ground over to first in time as Triska is retired.
Not a bad idea there by Triska to get something going, laying down the bunt, and for Womack coming off of the rubber. Let's take another look at this. Fielding her position, bunts right back to her, and very quick arm over to first.
That's not an easy thing for pitchers to do. So often it's an adventure when it comes to pitchers throwing overhand.
Yeah, because they're pitching all game underhand, and then the second that they have to throw overhand, it's like, wait a minute, I've not done this.
First pitch strike to Kinley Van Meter. Van Meter struck out in the 2nd. Cue balls it over to the right side. Eakins has to recollect it. Does get it over to first in time, so quickly 2 away here in the top of the 4th.
Right fielder number 7, Shelby Fuller.
2 quick outs at the bottom of the 3rd inning for Edwards, and already seeing 2 quick outs for Womack. This is definitely a momentum game that is continuing to shift side to side.
It feels like the pace is starting to pick up a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely, with the pitching. The hitters, both sides, attacking earlier in the count, not taking that first pitch strike or ball.
That was a first pitch ball to Shelby Fuller on the outside part of the plate. Fuller grounded out to Eakins at 2nd base to end the 2nd inning. And just 1 hit for both of these sides. The one for Riverside was a single by Brooklyn Berry. For Mansfield, it was a towering double to center field by Kinsley Ward. She was on 2nd. Allison Edwards was on 3rd. Whitaker walked. They had the bases loaded with 1 away, but could not push a run across as the 2-0 skips in the turf. 3-0 now to Fuller. And so we've said this a lot so far through these championships, but a lot of these games, and this one included, feels like it's going to come down to that 1 single hit. 3-0 right down the pipe for a called strike.
That 1 single hit of executing, driving a run in, that's exactly what this game feels like it's going to lead to, as it is the good classic pitcher's duel. But it's about executing, moving runners, and then stepping up in that clutch moment.
3-1. Inside called ball 4. Fuller looked like maybe she wasn't sure for a second, but yes, go on down to first as she works a 2-out walk.
And that pitch is not missing by much.
So that brings up the 9-hole hitter in Bailey London, who struck out looking in her last at bat. First pitch to London, misses low. London, the freshman. A couple of freshmen in this lineup for Mansfield. Mostly a upperclassman heavy roster, as that does catch the outside corner with a strike. London trying to keep the inning alive. It would turn over the lineup for Allison Edwards, who has been walked twice as she swings through the rise there as Womack gets ahead. Mansfield 1 for 8 today with runners on base. That was the double by Ward. 1-2 in the turf. It's going to skip away. There goes the runner. Fuller safely into 2nd.
And for Barry, she has been a wall all day. This ball kicks away just enough for Fuller to take advantage and advance a bag.
The turf plays differently than dirt. The ball is going to bounce a little bit differently, so that's part of the adjustment for these teams as Womack goes to the drop ball and gets London on the strikeout for the second time today. Still 0-0. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning in what has been a pitcher's duel once again. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Southern Loft is a proud sponsor of Arkansas PBS. It is our mission to tell your story by adding color with our furniture. And that's why Southern Loft is a different kind of furniture store. For more information, go to mysouthernloft.com.
I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family, and part of taking care of them is using a bank that takes care of us. That's why I use Centennial Bank, a strong institution for an uncertain economy. I know them and I trust them. They have a strong financial foundation, which means that my money and our future is never in doubt. Life is busy, and there's plenty of things to worry about. My bank isn't one of them.
Centennial Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We never gonna stop.
Southern Loft is a proud supporter of Arkansas PBS Sports and our Arkansas student athletes located at 3155 North College Avenue, Suite 102 in Fayetteville. Southern Loft, a different kind of furniture store. For more information, visit mysouthernloft.com. Getting towards the later parts of the game here in this 2A state championship between Mansfield and Riverside. Still no score yet. Both teams have had opportunities. Mansfield was able to load the bases back in the top of the third inning. Riverside had runners in scoring position in the second. No one has been able to push across that crucial run yet. We expected this one could be another 1-0 affair. Sydney is certainly trending in that direction.
It absolutely is. And you know, the fact of the matter is there's not any runs on the board. There has been production of getting runners on base. I will note at the success that Edwards and Womack are having, but in at bat to at bat that we're seeing both sides from Mansfield and Riverside, they're making adjustments pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat, and it's just getting locked in that moment and putting a good swing on a pitch.
Ridge swings through the low rise from Edwards as she's down in the count 0-2. Ridge 0 for 1 today, struck out to end the first in her first plate appearance. Ridge, Womack, and Eakins due up for the Lady Rebels here in the bottom of the fourth. The 0-2. Swung on and missed. 3 straight pitches for the 7th strikeout of the afternoon for Edwards.
And for Allison Edwards, her rise ball, it's the effectiveness of being able to throw it on different planes, but she's continuing to utilize the low rise that starts about thigh high and ends up right below the letters.
Make it 311 strikeouts on the year for the Mansfield ace. Claire Womack takes the first pitch strike. Womack walked in the second inning, the first of back-to-back walks to Womack and Eakins. That's where Edwards ran into that little bit of trouble with the illegal pitches, was called for a few, added some balls to the counts of both Womack and Eakins. The 0-1. Rise ball stays high. Both teams have been able to get one leadoff batter on here in this game. It's been leadoff walks on each side. The 1-1 to the Riverside hurler is low as the count 2-1.
And it's making the most of those leadoff walks, those free bases. You know, I'm all about putting runners in motion, especially early on in the game, to get them into scoring position. That's something that we saw earlier in a couple of the state title games, is a lot of stolen bases led to the success offensively of being able to manufacture those runs. And at times, you know, it feels as though when you're having a pitcher's duel and there's so much dominance in the circle, something like that can also easily get the momentum going.
I think you're confusing Taylor's 8 stolen bases with multiple teams stealing bases throughout these championships as Womack slices it down the first baseline foul as the count runs full.
And it was a lot of stolen bases by Taylor in that game.
Well, if there is one guarantee when you are playing the Taylor Tigers, it is going to be that you will have runners in motion. As Claire Womack standing in with a full count here in the bottom of the 4th inning, 1 away in a 0-0 game between Mansfield and Riverside. The payoff pitch, lifted down the right side, hanging up, long run for Trinity Triska. She cannot get there, but you gotta love the effort. Womack and Edwards have been going tit for tat in the circle and now battling it out in the circle in the box.
And we talked about how much we love pitchers that hit. We're seeing the two-way players more often, as that has been a thing that has evolved even more in the game of softball.
Full count for the 2nd time. The pitch, rise ball lifted. This will stay on the edge of the infield. Coming on is Nelson, calling off the shortstop Ward to make the snag.
And for Daisy Nelson to come in and to secure the catch, I like that. You know, we say at times that outfield does have priority, especially on a ball that they're sprinting in to come and get. Let's take another look at this. This ball is lifted on the rise ball by Edwards. And for Ward, she is backpedaling versus drop stepping. And I totally agree with that decision of Nelson calling her off.
So there are 2 away here in the home half of the 4th inning. First pitch fouled right back into the catcher off of the bat of Riley Eakins, who walked on 4 straight pitches back in the 2nd.
By Eakins, that was a great swing on the low rise ball by Edwards. When a ball shoots straight back like that, that typically means that the hitter is on the pitch. It's a game of inches.
Quick conversation between Allison Nelson and her catcher, senior to freshman. The 0-1 just misses on the inside corner to even the count at 1-1.
And the off-speed drop ball, something that Edwards just uses occasionally. With Edwards and Womack, they've been utilizing their rise ball, curve ball mix, but we've seen here of late, they're starting to utilize the drop ball more.
Lifted, foul, and out of play. The game between these two last year went scoreless all the way until the 6th inning, when Mackenzie Thomas singled to give Riverside the 1-0 lead. That would end up being the only run that was scored. As this one scoreless now through 3 2/3 complete innings. Just a strike away from going 4 full. The 1-2. Line down the left field side, but foul.
We talk about it being the same script of the teams matching up again, but it is truthfully the same script of last year with the high strikeout rates for both Womack and Edwards and the defensive plays behind.
A couple of the key figures have changed this year. Mackenzie Thomas graduated. Mansfield had to replace their outfield, but once again, both of these teams rising to the top. 1-2 off speed, misses low. As the count now 2-2 to the sophomore second baseman.
And what a take, being down in the count by Eakins. On a 1-2 count, that is an easy pitch to chase. And her at bat so far, she is, you can see it, she is in yes, 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 no mentality.
2-2 is a traditional hitter's count. The pitch lifted, sky, but it will get out of play just over the third base dugout.
and we're seeing more balls fouled off. They're starting for the Riverside offense. They're starting to work more towards that rise ball. They're making adjustments with their hands, still not getting to that contact point out in front, but we're seeing the adjustments pitch to pitch.
The 2-2. Rise ball misses high as Eakins has worked a 3-2 count. So back-to-back 3-2 counts to Womack and to Eakins here in the bottom of the fourth. Seven strikeouts on the day for Allison Edwards. Has given up just one hit, walked two. The payoff. Swung on and missed, make it number 8 as Allison Edwards shuts the door on Riverside in the bottom of the fourth. We head to the fifth, still scoreless between Mansfield and Riverside. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Vaping costs over $1,500 a year. So if you vape, there goes that new gaming system. Or that new mountain bike. Escape the vape. Learn more about the hazards of vaping at projectpreventar.org.
Attention sports enthusiasts. Get ready to be amazed by Summerwood Sports Complex, the new state-of-the-art facility in Bryant. Our facility offers up to 4 courts spread across 2 spacious gyms, conveniently located off Interstate 30 in Bryant. Whether you're a team seeking tournament glory or an individual looking to elevate your skills, Summerwood Sports has got you covered. Discover more about our cutting-edge facility and check availability at summerwoodsports.com.
Welcome back to the University of Central Arkansas here in this 2A state championship rematch between Mansfield and Riverside. Top of the 5th inning, still no score. This one, as predicted, has been a pitcher's duel.
It has been a pitcher's duel. In fact, already 12 strikeouts throughout the game. We're going to take a look at this. There's been some illegal pitches called both on Womack and Edwards. It's due to the fact of not coming set on the mound with the hands separated. Have to separate the hands once you get on the mound before coming together, coming set. That's what's being explained as to why the illegal pitch is called. But then how about this? I mean, it is strikeout after strikeout after strikeout for Allison Edwards. 8 Ks already on the day, and it's all due to the lethal rise ball that she throws through the zone. And for Claire Womack, she has been dialed in from pitch 1, utilizing that curve rise ball mix.
And it will be Edwards who leads things off here in the top of the 5th inning. Edwards, a pair of walks today, walked in the first, walked in the third. The third was when the Lady Tigers were able to load the bases with 1 away, could not push a run across. As a first pitch to Edwards, low and in for ball 1. Off the outside corner, 2-0 rather.
And for Edwards, she just has that pitcher's eye. She has the discipline of picking up ball to strike.
3-0. Edwards, as we mentioned, came into the game hitting .620 on the season. So Riverside clearly letting someone else in the Lady Tigers lineup beat them as that one misses low. Make it 3 walks on what has been 13 total pitches to Allison Edwards today.
And for Allison Edwards, after the last 3 at-bats, that makes 20 walks on the season. And, you know, she just has this presence in the box with the way that she is in yes, 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 no mentality, the way that she attacks pitches when they do show up. She just has that presence in the box.
And Kinsley Ward doubled to dead away center in her last at-bat. It is the only hit of the day for Mansfield. Ward also made a stellar defensive play. Drops the bunt over to the third base side. Biggers delivers a strike over to first. But Ward does her job, sacrificing Edwards into scoring position.
And that indeed, Ward does her job, getting the sac bunt down. This is a crucial moment in the game. Being the top of the 5th inning, we're getting down to the final 9 outs on both sides.
Ambria Whitaker standing in with a runner on second. Whitaker 0 for 1 today, struck out and walked as she takes a first pitch low in the turf. That was a nice backhand behind the plate by Barry. Curveball catches the outside corner, evens the count at 1-1. In the turf, once again, 2-1. As Womack trying to work around the leadoff walk. Womack has surrendered just 20 runs total on the season. In what is the 28th game of the year for the Lady Rebels, that stays low, 3-1. One hit apiece, no score on the board here in the top of the 5th inning. The 3-1. Screwball right down the heart of the plate, 3-2.
Not something Whitaker was expecting, as Womack has continued to use her curved drop ball throughout this at bat. Solid pitch, being able to strike through the top right corner of the zone.
The payoff, lifted, it'll stay on the infield. Biggers coming on, makes the catch, and there are 2 away.
Let's take another look at this, and Womack just doing what she does best. Runner in scoring position. She has the grittiness to find a way to get the fly out against Whitaker. Whitaker on that swing, the ball is up and in on her hand. She gets just enough jammed and underneath it to get the fly out.
Cole Smith 0 for 2, a pop out to the pitcher and a pop out to second. Smith entered the day hitting .342 on the year, on base nearly 400. 26 hits. Is that one in the dirt? In the turf, rather. It's semantics.
It's same. It's softball. We talked about it.
You can't spend 20 years calling it the dirt and then immediately get to turf. 2 out to the number 4 hitter, as Smith takes a ball outside, 3-0 now. So Smith, a patient at bat here in the top of the 5th inning with a runner on second. Senior third baseman takes a called strike on the inside corner. Mansfield looking for their first state title since 2012. That one too far in as Smith works a 2-out walk.
Very patient at bat by Smith, taking the balls as balls. That pitch is definitely a ball in on the inner half of the plate. Let's take another look at this pitch. She throws a screw that stays in the river and ends up in the right-handed batter's box.
7th walk of the day issued by Claire Womack, as we will have a visit inside the circle. You like this decision here?
I like the decision to take a second. You know, with the momentum, there are 2 outs on the board, and Womack has been very precise in this inning, but I do like the decision to take a moment just to settle back in, to give her a second, just to catch her breath and to talk through how, you know, we're going to attack the next batter.
And taking a look at this pitching matchup, it has been as advertised. Edwards on the left, Womack on the right. Edwards 4 innings pitched, Womack 4 2/3. No runs have been given up. 7 walks versus 2. That's been the difference. Edwards 8 strikeouts, and you see those pitches for Womack. They're starting to get up there. 93. She's inching towards the 70 or the century mark. Meanwhile, for Edwards, a very economical 70 pitches through 4 complete innings.
And the difference is Womack has been pitching more corner to corner. For Edwards, she's been more through the zone. That's why her pitch percentage or her pitch number is higher up. She's more of a pitcher that's going to live corner to corner versus Edwards is more through the center of the zone.
Edwards also helped by that 2-pitch, 2-out inning in the 4th as a first pitch strike to Daisy Nelson. Nelson tapped foul, came up to hit her, so 0-2. And another reason for the conversation at this point in the lineup, Sydney, is it was Daisy Nelson who was up with 2 outs and bases loaded back in the 3rd inning, roped a liner, but right at Kaylee Cox at short. So you have a conversation about a dangerous hitter with a runner in scoring position. The 0-2 from Womack stays outside. Barry able to track it down. Been very impressed with Barry behind the plate today.
Barry has been extremely impressive. First of all, just blocking the drop balls that are, hitting in front of her, and then also the pitches that are getting a little bit up and out of the way. She's done a stellar job behind the plate.
1-2, rope down the left field line, but foul just over the Legion scaffolding over there down the 3rd base line.
She got her barrel out in front of that screwball.
Well, that is the delicateness of hitting on the inside corner as a right-handed hitter. You can get the barrel around it, but you have to learn to get inside it to keep it in fair play versus pulling it foul. The 1-2 in the turf, 2-2.
And Nelson has made the adjustment already in her at-bat. She scooted up more on the plate as Womack has been attacking her on the outer part of the plate. I think that leads to the foul ball that we just saw, getting the barrel around it. And to your point, getting your hands inside of the ball.
2-2, 2 runners on, 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning between Mansfield and Riverside. Off the outside corner, dribbler, slow roller. This could be trouble. No one is out. Everybody is safe. And once again, the base is full of Lady Tigers as the slow roller pays dividends for Daisy Nelson.
You will take them as they can come in a ball game like this. And for Daisy Nelson, very gritty at bat. We have a conversation here.
There's maybe a conversation about whether or not this was runner's interference as Smith was running. She and Eakins nearly colliding in the base paths.
This is a better angle to take a look at this. It could be a toss-up, but she was in front of the
maybe
line.
A toss-up. No contact between the two, and both players, this is where that gray area of the rules always comes into play, because both players have a right to that lane. You have a right to make the play. You have a right to be running. As a result, it is bases loaded, 2 away in the bottom of the 5th inning, top of the 5th inning rather, and a first pitch ball to Trinity Triska. Triska 0 for 1 today with a walk and a ground out. Second time in the game that Mansfield has loaded the bases, and now it is 2-0 to Triska. The 2-0 comes inside. There is nowhere to put the junior second baseman. Mansfield looking to break the stalemate with 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning, 3-0. And if you're Triska, this bat is not coming off your shoulder at all.
No, and a 3-0 count, bases loaded, taking this pitch all day.
And Womack delivers a strike right down the heart of the plate. Not out of the woods yet. (3-1). Strike right down the center. 2 big pitches from Claire Womack, and now the count is full.
Just about to say 2 huge pitches by Womack. What a response. Being down 3-0 in the count, throwing 2 screwballs that just stay down the heart of the plate.
Runners will be on the move. The full count, and Womack walks in the first run of the game.
And you can see the frustration from Womack coming back, being down the count. working it back to a full count. She goes to the rise ball, but the patience by Triska in a crucial moment, the pressure is on, displayed such patience.
As we talked about so often, those leadoff walks have a way of coming back and haunting you. Allison Edwards drew the leadoff walk, put into play. Riverside able to get out of the inning without any further damage, but it's Mansfield who strikes first. They get a bases loaded walk, and the Lady Tigers lead it 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Many people will experience orthopedic or spine issues in their lifetime, and the pain that goes along with that can make you feel, well, like a shadow of yourself. At the new Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, we're dedicated to providing Arkansans with a brighter future they deserve.
After years of dealing with extreme pain, thanks to visiting UAMS Health, I'm able to do things physically that I never thought I'd be able to do again.
Choose UAMS Health for a better state of health.
This month in Passport on the PBS app.
Get ready as Bridget, Julia, and the rest of the gang explore new recipes and cooking techniques.
We're all storytellers. You tell stories of our people through music.
I'm diving deep into one of Mexico's most storied, vibrant states, Yucatan.
These and other shows from Arkansas PBS are available with Passport on the PBS app.
For a copy of any of the state championship games, go to mnmproductions.net to place your order. Mansfield finally able to break through in the top half of the 5th inning via a bases-loaded walk to plate Allison Edwards, and now she will go to work in the circle with a lead in the bottom of the 5th inning. She will face Carly Jo Womack, Blakely Biggers, and Bennett Durham, 7, 8, 9 in the Riverside order.
And it's just the free passes, 3 walks in the last inning that Womack allowed. And, you know, again, like, she is a corner-to-corner pitcher. She's not going to throw the ball much through the zone. So when you're working corner-to-corner, it's that 50-50 of if you're going to get that pitch on the borderline call or not.
Edwards misses first pitch, high and out. Womack 0 for 1 today, popped out to the shortstop Ward. Back in that 2nd inning, where Riverside was able to get 2 on. It was Womack that was trying to lay down the bunt, popped it up. Fantastic play by Ward. London doing work behind the plate, framing that.
Really good job framing it, getting her glove out and around the pitch to bring it back into the zone.
Womack, .458 hitter on the season, standing in, trying to give Riverside their 2nd leadoff runner today. The 1-1 cuts through the screwball, 1-2.
That's a good cut here. Let's take another look at this pitch by Edwards. And for Womack, let's take another look at this pitch that was taken by Womack. For London and Berry behind the plate, both catchers have been so solid for their pitchers.
The 1-2 from Edwards. Throws her on the outside corner, a called strike 3. That is 10 Lady Rebels in a row set down by Allison Edwards.
And for Allison Edwards, just living with that screwball on the outer part of the plate, and the frame job by London.
1 away in the home half of the 5th inning brings to the plate Blakely Biggers, who is caught looking back in the 2nd. First pitch off of the inside of the back foul.
And you know, so often, Dorian, catchers don't get the spotlight. But to be a good pitcher, you've got to have a good catcher behind the plate. It's all teamwork, clearly. But for London and Berry with Womack and Edwards, they're doing their part behind the plate to make everything effective and efficient.
Yeah, as a pitcher, you have to be able to trust your battery mate. The 0-1 to the 3rd baseman, Biggers. Cuts through the rise, 0-2.
And the thing about Edwards' rise, And a good rise ball pitcher can effectively break the ball just enough where it's that low rise ball, not the rise ball where it's already starting high out of the hand and ends up high. She is able to keep it down the center of the plate, and then it just breaks just enough.
Just like that, up out of the zone, 3 pitches to dispatch of Blakely Biggers. And now 3 consecutive batters via the strikeout. Those numbers just continuing to rise for Allison Edwards.
And for Allison Edwards, the confidence that she has in her rise ball. But on the flip side, for Riverside, understanding it is having a plan every time you go up to the plate and making the adjustments from at bat to at bat. Understanding you're going to get that rise ball about 90% of the time. Set your hands up above, set your hands up a notch higher, work to be above the pitch.
Edwards working well in the circle. Missed off the outside corner, 1-0 to the 9-hole hitter Durham. Draws back, takes a ball high. Durham, 1 of 10 strikeout victims. That was to end the 2nd inning. Outs becoming a little bit more precious if you're Riverside, the 2-0. Misses high, 3-0. As Allison Edwards has been dominant inside the circle today. 4 2/3 innings pitched, has surrendered just the single all the way back in the 1st inning. 3-0 off the outside corner, called a strike.
And that's one thing that Allison Edwards does not do often, is get behind in the count. She is a pitcher that is pumping in first pitch strikes.
Only 2 walks issued today by Edwards. Called a strike on the outside corner as she works the count back full. Edwards continuing to live off the outside corner with that screwball. The 3-2. Caught looking once again. Struck out the side for Allison Edwards. We go to the 6th inning. Mansfield on top, 1-0 over Riverside in the 2A title. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Arkansas PBS needs to add 2,500 new members by June 30th. If we succeed, we receive a gift of $45,000. We are just over halfway there, but with less than 2 months remaining, we need your help. If you're already a member, thank you. If you're not, your donation moves us one step closer to that $45,000 gift. Visit myarkansas.pbs.org and donate today.
It's prime time on your time. Get more of your primetime favorites each weekday starting at 1:30 following our PBS Kids programs. Catch up on all the programs you love, including Exploring Arkansas, Nature, Antiques Roadshow, Arkansas Week, British Favorites, Mysteries, and more, beginning at 1:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. See the full schedule and all the ways to watch at myarkansaspbs.org/watch.
Let me take you for a ride on the baseline.
As the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider for Razorback Athletics, UAMS Health provides orthopedic care, sports medicine expertise, therapy, and support to athletic programs, organizations, and events across the state. UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with conveniently located clinics in Central and Northwest Arkansas. Top of the 6th inning, Mansfield leading 1-0 over Riverside in what has been, as expected, a pitcher's duel and a low-scoring affair. It was the Tigers, the Lady Tigers, that were able to break through in the 5th on a bases-loaded walk to plate Allison Edwards, who had drawn a leadoff walk in that inning. Trying to add a little extra insurance here in the top of the 6th inning. It is Fuller, London, and Edwards due up in the inning. Misses off the outside corner.
And coming into the inning, we saw Mansfield. They're starting to bring out the feathered hats. They had huge hats on that had feathers, starting to have some fun.
It's a little bit easier to have fun when you get the 1-run lead. Lifted on the infield, playable for Cox. She's under it for the first out of the inning.
That's number 5, Bailey.
There is indeed the feathered hat. You didn't tell me about the boas.
I didn't see the boas either. Look at the boas. They're just adding to it. And before the game, I did not see those anywhere in the dugout, so they're pulling those out of somewhere.
Listen, a component of teams that can execute in these moments is that ball bunted down the third base line. It'll get down to the turf. You have to be a little bit loose. You and I talked about this. We saw it with Sheridan. They came in with their music and their dancing, and you said that it was a lot of the way that you guys played back at North Little Rock back in the day. Very, very loose coming into those big games.
Oh, it was. We played very loose. We had the best time at making the most of the experience, and you know, at North Little Rock was very blessed to have won 3 back-to-back state championships. And you know, it's all about playing loose, making the most of the moment, having fun. When you play loose, you play better. The more uptight you play, the more uptight the game's going to be.
I was a head case. 0-2. Off the end of the bat. In no man's land, it's going to drop on the purple of the UCA for the 3rd hit of the day. Bailey London coming through with a 1-out single.
And for Qualls, she was playing pretty deep in center field, and that's just a ball that lands in that triangle that more times than not is going to be a base hit.
Brings to the plate Allison Edwards. 3 walks today for the Mansfield's leading hitter. Misses in the turf. And so it brings up an interesting situation for Riverside because you've walked Edwards 3 times. She scored in the last inning. And do you want to walk her again to continue to put runners on, or do you deal with Edwards here in this situation?
I think closely pitching around her, you know, to try to get her to chase. You know, with 3 of her 3 at-bats being put on base by walks.
Does indeed stay away. 3-0 now. Edwards had been walked 17 times coming into today. That was the most on the team. That number now up to 20. 3-0 misses low and in, and so now runners on first and second, 1 away. And here is where you have some danger because Kinsley Ward has shown in this game she has the power to go for extra bases. Drove a double deep out to center field back in the 3rd inning. So Ward 1 for 2. Popped out, doubled, and sacrificed back in the 5th. That one in the turf, picked by Barry. And if you are Riverside, with going against a pitcher like Edwards, this 1 run feels a little bit like 4 or 5, so you can't really afford to give up any extra insurance here. The 1-0 misses low. Lady Tigers turning in some patient at-bats here in the late stages of the game.
And in talking about a tight game like this, a pitcher's duel, you made such a great point, Dorian. That 1 run truly feels like way more than 1. It feels like 4 or 5. And only being at a deficit by 1 run, it's just that tight, pressurous game, which pressure is a privilege. But when you're in a tight, pressurous game, being down by just 1 run, and the offensive production not being there with only a couple of hits, you know, for each team, it definitely supplies to that.
I'm going to ask you a trivia question. Do you know who said pressure is a privilege? Misses on the inside corner.
Give it to me. I'm not even going to guess.
Billie Jean King.
Okay. Looky there.
This is what you do. You come for the softball, you stay for the education.
Right?
Coach Eakins out in the circle once again to talk to his star pitcher as a 3-0 count to Kinsley Ward with runners on first and second. Still only 1 away in the 6th inning. What's this conversation about, Sydney?
And for Coach Eakins, just talking between Barry and Womack about the strike zone, what's being thrown, he just having that conversation with them of, okay, this isn't working right now. Like, what are we going to go to? What's going to come next? And then just getting the ball more through the zone. When you're pitching corner to corner, that allows for more walks, more free passes, getting the ball in the zone, through the zone, allowing the defense to work back behind you. That's the conversation there. Allow your defense to work.
There have been 9 free passes issued today by Claire Womack compared to just 4 strikeouts. She's only given up the 1 double, 2 other singles. The pitch count inching close to 120. The 3-0 to Ward, right down the pipe for a strike. Ward came into the championship with an average just south of 400. The 3-1. Too far inside with the screw, and once again, bases are loaded after a pair of walks. Ambria Walker stepping in. Walker 0 for 2 today, does have a walk sandwiched in between a strikeout and a pop out to third. So Riverside, or Mansfield rather, really with a chance to break it open here in the top of the 6th inning. Up and out. Cindy, if you're Womack, what's the adjustment that you need to make?
The adjustment is to get the ball more through the middle of the zone, just allowing the defense to work, and they're right there just being more through the zone, through the middle of the zone, not corner to corner, but through the zone. Her rise ball was very effective early on. That was the pitch that she was getting more through the zone rather than her screw and curve. And her defense has been solid behind her when the ball's been put in play.
Excuse me, swing and the count 1-2. Not saying this is the case, but do you feel that sometimes high volume strikeout pitchers feel like they have to do it all themselves as opposed to letting the ball be put in play more than they're used to?
Absolutely. It's what you feel as a pitcher, to get that high strikeout rate. What are you going to throw and what counts to get that? And then at times, you've got to reverse the role. You've got to go from focusing on the high strikeouts to just letting your defense work.
Sometimes you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. A 1-2 count as Whitaker fouled off the last offering to stay alive. 1-2, lifted, foul out of play. Mansfield able to strike in the top of the 5th inning. 1 run is all they would get. They've loaded the bases now 3 different times in the game. Credit Riverside with being able to work out of those situations, and in a big one here once again, only 1 away in the 6th. The 1-2 stays low, squirts away, but Edwards nowhere to go.
And when you are a pitcher where you understand your strong suit is going to be from that high strikeout rate, there's not a huge level of difficulty, but the understanding of pitching to contact when that's not your strong suit and what you go towards.
2-2, lined over to the left side, steps on the plate. They've got the runner caught in a rundown. Double play for Riverside. They work out of a bases-loaded jam. A heads-up play by Biggers to step on the bag and throw home in time to tag out London. Riverside trying to carry that momentum into their offense as they trail by 1 in the bottom of the 6th. You're watching the 2A state championship on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Sustaining membership is an easy, convenient, and affordable way for you to support the programs you love on Arkansas PBS. Sustaining members make an ongoing monthly contribution from either their checking account or credit card. Simply choose the monthly amount that fits your budget, and then call or go online and we'll set it up for you. Your donation will happen automatically each month, so your support will always be current. Need to make a change to your monthly gift? Just call or email us. You're always in control. Knowing we can count on a certain amount of revenue each month helps Arkansas PBS better plan for the future. Call or go online to start your sustaining membership right now. Civics education empowers us to be well-informed, active citizens and gives us the opportunity to change the world. Our educators have created tools for parents and teachers to help guide and engage children through the civics process during this election year. Discover ways to talk with your child about being a good citizen and how you can explore elections together with resources available at myarkansaspbs.org/civics.
1, 2, 3, turn up! Whoa. It's going up in here! Let's go!
Legion Scaffold is a proud supporter of Arkansas PBS Sports, located at 1021 Hemlock Street in North Little Rock. Visit legionscaffold.com for more information. Outs getting scarce for the Riverside Lady Rebels. Bottom of the 6th inning. They are trailing Mansfield 1-0 in what has been a gem from the senior star Allison Edwards. 5 complete innings, 1 hit, 11 strikeouts, and has issued only 2 free passes. Riverside has not had a runner on in each of the last 3 innings. But they will try to get the offense going after a big double play in the field. It is Qualls, Cox, and Berry, 1, 2, 3. Due up for the Lady Rebels as that ball taken high for a ball.
And if you're Riverside, this is where you want to be, at the top of your lineup in the bottom of the 6th inning to get a rally going.
Riverside going to need a rally here as Edwards has set down 12 straight Lady Rebels. With the count 2-0 to the leadoff hitter. Qualls 0 for 2 today, struck out in the first, flew out in the third. The lone hit of the day for the Lady Rebels, coming off of the bat of Brooklyn Berry in the first. The 2-0. Just misses the count, 3-0.
And on that drop ball, that was a good pitch by Edwards. Bailey London behind the plate just took it down a little bit. I think that's why the pitch was called a ball.
And sometimes you frame when you don't need to frame.
Right.
The 3-0 from Edwards. Misses up as Qualls able to work the leadoff walk here in the top of the 6th inning. Just the second time today that Riverside has been able to get the leadoff runner on. And Sydney, this brings the conversation back to what we talked about yesterday. Leadoff runner gets on, 1-run game. Is it short game time?
It is short game time all day. Get the ball on the ground, advance the runner to second, and then it's fair game from there as to what situationally you can do.
Infield drawn in for Mansfield. Cox does show the bump, pulls it back. Runner on the move. She is into second with a stolen base. Riverside with a runner in scoring position for just the second time today.
And I talked about earlier just getting the runner put in motion, whether it's a short game or just stealing a base. This was a great job by Cox squaring around a bunt, and very late she pulled back the barrel to enable Qualls to have more time to steal.
That was a great jump by Qualls, able to get in unimpeded. '19th stolen base of the season for Qualls as that pitch from Edwards misses off of the outside corner, 1-1. This is a Riverside team that likes to run. Hasn't had the opportunity today. That was the 98th stolen base of the year. Their stolen base rate 95% when they put the runners in motion. The 1-1. Off the inside part of the glove, it kicks away to the backstop as the passed ball allows Qualls to advance to third. So Riverside getting a little bit of help here from Mansfield in the late part of this game. Runner on third, nobody out. If you are the Lady Rebels, you have to bring this run in.
You have to. This is the time to dig in and get the job done. And we talked about the momentum shift that a defensive play can do. And at the top of this inning, the big time play by Biggers at third.
The 2-1 to Cox. Lifted right back into the banner. She did not miss that by much.
She did not miss that by much. She was all over that low rise.
Kaylee Cox 0 for 2, struck out, fly out. 35 RBI on the season, would love nothing more than to pick up number 36 here. The 2-2. Flared just over the head. Qualls will score. We are tied in the 6th.
And you can see the excitement from Qualls and for Cox on the season. She's batting .569 with runners in scoring position, and she just adds to that. Big time moment, big time swing by Cox. This is an up and in rise ball that she gets her barrel out in front to and gets just enough of it to get it over the head of Ward at shortstop.
Just like for Mansfield, leadoff walk coming back to haunt the Lady Tigers. We are tied at 1 apiece here in the bottom of the 6th as Riverside able to get to the Mansfield ace. Allison Edwards, one on, but popped in the air. Easy play for Edwards as Cox has to retreat. So runner on first, one away for Katie Ridge, who is 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts. Riverside picking up the run they desperately needed here in the 6th inning after Mansfield was able to score in the top of the 5th. Ridge really creeping up on that inner part of the plate. Takes a first pitch strike down the middle.
And that's one thing that we've seen both offenses do is make the adjustment of getting closer onto the plate as they're being pitched away, away, away. And it's the adjustments like that that you've got to make pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat.
Ridge batting with one away. Claire Womack is standing on deck. The 0-1. Takes a ball off the inside corner. Qualls getting on with the leadoff walk, snapped the streak of 12 consecutive Lady Rebels being set down by Edwards. Stole second base, was able to advance to third on the pass ball, and came in on the singles by Kinsley Cox as Ridge gets ahead in the count for the first time today, 2-1.
And for Katie Ridge, she has the power, 11 homers on the season. This is a 1-1 ball game. You're really focused on moving station to station, but she's the kind of hitter that can be a difference maker.
And with a pitcher that has the velocity like Edwards, you get a little help from that as a hitter. You touch it, it goes. The 2-1. In off of the hands. That was a good swing by Ridge on the screwball, but it's a 2-2 count.
And we can see there in her swing that she's working to get her hands to that pitch. She is working inside.
Edwards trying to limit the damage to just a single run here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It has been an efficient day for Edwards for the most part, in just 93 pitches through 5 1/3 innings. Meanwhile, Mansfield, they have made Claire Womack work as Ridge chases the rise ball, set down on strikes. 2 away, and that is a big out for Allison Edwards.
Huge out for Edwards as she just continues to climb the ladder against Ridge.
12th strikeout of the day for Allison Edwards, who came into this game for her career, Sydney, striking out 43% of the batters that she has faced.
43% of the batters face strikeouts. Wow.
Claire Womack would love nothing more than to help her own cause as she takes a first pitch ball off the outside corner. We talked about Riverside's penchant for stealing bases. Do you perhaps put Cox in motion here?
I'm all about putting runners in motion. I know that there's 2 outs, and this is a huge moment being a tie ball game. You don't want to run into outs. As you're,
well, they'll get a gift as the rise ball gets away from London behind the plate. The first one was a pass ball, Cindy. I think this one's going to go down as a wild pitch as it forced London to really get out of her stance. Either way, Riverside does now have a runner on second. That is the go-ahead run here in the home half of the 6th inning.
Absolutely, and for Womack being a pitcher that hits, she is batting .433 with runners in scoring position.
You have to imagine anything that gets through the infield, Cox is going to be waved around. Takes the ball off of the outside corner. Outfield playing fairly deep. for a game in which the go-ahead run is on second. 3-0. Catches the plate for a called strike. Cindy, you're an outfielder. You surprised it's normal depth?
I'm a little surprised that it's normal depth, but at the same time, something that is hit shallow that you're able to keep in front of you to come up gunning to get the throw out at home.
Fair point. 2 away, runner on second, 3-1 to Womack. Line down the right field side, but foul. Full count, 2 away. Runner will not be in motion, not a force, and a runner on first, so she will have to wait to make sure that ball is put in play.
And to talk about the outfield positioning, clearly if we were in the bottom of the 7th inning, that would be a completely different discussion.
The payoff pitch. Draws the walk off the inside corner. So a pair of walks and a single have tied up this game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Riverside with runners on first and second, 2 away. Riley Eakins, who has had a pair of really quality at-bats in this game. A walk, does have a strikeout, but battled Edwards in that second at-bat, stands at the plate.
She's been very effective in her at-bats, swinging at good pitches, fouling a lot of pitches off.
Eakins, a .324 hitter on the year. First pitch swinging, fouled back. 23 hits for Eakins this year, 9 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 18 RBI. Edwards trying to work through trouble here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 0-1 fouled back into the banner 0-2.
And for Eakins, 2 good swings on 2 rise balls back-to-back. She has been aggressive in each of her at-bats today.
We knew runs were going to be at a premium today. You just saw the graphic in terms of the numbers with runners in scoring position. That is how hard it is to manufacture runs against these 2 aces in Claire Womack and Allison Edwards. The 0-2 fouled back as Eakins able to stay alive. You can hear someone in the crowd near one of our mics saying, stay on it. Eakins did not miss that pitch by much. Qualls came in to score on the single by Kaylee Cox. Both teams 1 for 6 with 2 outs today. The 0-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3, as Edwards is able to limit the damage, but Riverside has new life. They tie it on an RBI single by Kaylee Cox. It is 1-1 here in the state championship. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month on Arkansas PBS.
I was actually right behind Jimi Hendrix's bell bottom there.
So the 70s fashion blocked your head out of this photo.
Exactly.
From bondage to battle.
What do you make of him?
It changes the game for my family.
I wish the American public understood war the way warriors understand war.
It's not just another job. You're going in a hot area and someone's gonna die.
Only on Arkansas PBS. This month in Passport on the PBS app.
There's this extraterrestrial quality to sperm whales.
Join me, and together we'll turn back the pages of Earth's past to reveal the amazing wonders beneath our feet.
There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you might expect.
These and other shows from Arkansas PBS are available with Passport on the PBS app.
We never gonna stop.
Experience the action all over again next week. Watch all the championship games on PBS app anytime. This one definitely worth going back and revisiting no matter how this one plays out, as it is a 1-1 battle in a rematch of last year's 2A championship between Mansfield and Riverside. Last year, the Lady Rebels won it 1-0. First pitch swinging off the handle, another slow roller. Eakins collects it over to Ridge in time for the first out of the inning. That was Cole Smith on the first pitch she saw here in the top of the 7th. Mansfield plated a run in the 5th. Riverside answered back in the 6th. And that is how we are here in the top of the 7th inning between two teams that came into today, each one with just a single loss. Mansfield 23-1, Riverside 26-1. And a hit by pitch as Womack lets the screwball get away. Nelson on base for the 2nd time today.
Second baseman number 12, Trinity Triska.
Brings to the plate Trinity Triska, who is 0 for 1, a pair of walks. Left-handed batter makes things interesting here in this situation.
Having a runner at first with 1 out and having Triska at the plate, she has the ability to display all of the different tools that she has in her toolbox. She can utilize short game, she can power slap, she can soft slap. I think being in this position with a runner at first and 1 out, utilizing the short game a little bit more with the soft slap, chop slap combination would be a really good go-to.
Third drawn in a bit with Triska at the plate, misses high and in, 2-0.
I know there's an hour into it in the bottom of the color. See, I'm an hour into it, I'm going to be in about 4.
That is something that Mansfield has been able to do today effectively against Womack, is draw walks as that catches the inside part of the plate. The curveball, a definite strike.
A great response pitch by Womack. But for Trinity Triska, playing on turf, especially as a slapper, being able to pound the ball down into the turf, you're going to get that high bounce.
2-1. Put in the air. Womack has it. Runner was on the move. Riverside comes up with their 2nd double play in as many innings. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Riverside with a chance to walk it off here in the 2A state final. You're watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month in Passport on the PBS app.
Of a murderer.
Anything you'd like to share, Professor? He's a little unorthodox.
We love terrorists. Back!
When Layla Hussein comes to this Northern Ireland town...
Is this the new lady detective then?
She'll need to learn quickly.
These and other shows from Arkansas PBS are available with Passport on the PBS app. This month in Passport on the PBS app.
Get ready as Bridget, Julia, and the rest of the gang explore new recipes and cooking techniques.
We're all storytellers. You tell stories of our people through music.
I'm diving deep into one of Mexico's most storied, vibrant states, Yucatan.
These and other shows from Arkansas PBS are available with Passport on the PBS app.
Get your live action photos from the game at myarpbs.org/photos. Grab free downloads, have prints made. These are a great championship keepsake. 1-1 here in the bottom of the 7th inning between Mansfield and Riverside. We knew, Sydney, this one would be a good one going in. It has certainly delivered. And for the Lady Rebels, they have up 7-8-9 in Carly Jo Womack, Blakely Biggers, and Bennett Durham, with a chance to potentially walk it off against the Lady Tigers.
And in this game so far, with the dominance that Edwards and Womack have displayed, it's also been the reason as to why we've got ones on the board is the free passes that were allowed on base, and then just the timely hitting and execution to get the run across.
This portion of the lineup, Edwards was able to strike out in order back in the 5th. They combined 0 for 6 today for Womack, Biggers, and Durham. The 1-0 stays high, 2-0. Carly Jo Womack hitting north of 450 on the year, 33 hits, 7 doubles. So does have a little bit of pop here in the 7th spot. 1 home run on the year as well. The 2-0 catches the top part of the zone for a called strike. I don't know about you, Sydney, but in this situation, if I'm a batter, I am not waiting for Edwards to walk me. I'm coming out and I'm hunting.
Absolutely. Being a tie ball game, bottom of the 7th inning, being aggressive when that pitch shows up.
The 2-1 to Womack. Stays high, 3-1.
And for Womack, too, the patience of laying off of those 3 rise balls, that is huge in this moment.
Edwards has issued 4 free passes. 2 of those came in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1 of those to Annalie Qualls ended up being the tying run. And now a 3-1 count to the leadoff hitter in Carly Jo Womack. Shows bunt, pulls back. And it is another leadoff walk for the 2nd consecutive inning.
And for Carly Jo Womack, being disciplined, not going after those rise balls. Prior to that last pitch thrown, she took a practice swing. She had her hands up set extremely high, working on getting to the top part of the ball. And that's the adjustments that you have to be made. But the patience of getting on base there is huge.
Blakely Biggers stepping into the box has not recorded a sacrifice on the season. You have to imagine that is going to be in play as she squares early, pulls back, runner on the move, into second in time. As Riverside with the winning run, standing just 2 bases away.
And let's take a look at this jump by Carly Jo Womack. The speed that she has, the good aggressive first step that goes down as her 15th stolen base of the season.
First pitch strike to Biggers as she pulled back on the pitch. 412 hitter on the season with 23 RBI. Both teams just 1 hit with a runner in scoring position today. The 0-1 shows bunt popped up. Foul, 0-2.
And squaring around a bunt, the barrel's got to be at the top part of the zone with a flatter barrel, a strong top hand to work above that rise ball.
No outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Riverside, runner on second. That is the winning run in Carly Jo Womack. The 0-2 to Biggers. Swung on and missed. Edwards, her 14th strikeout of the day.
And for Allison Edwards, it's the rise ball that does it again. Let's take a look at this pitch. It starts about chest high, and for Biggers, she was out in front, got her barrel underneath it, wasn't able to stay above the pitch. And that's something about a rise ball pitcher when you're facing. You can't be out on your front foot, and the hands can't drop down. They've got to stay above the shoulder.
Bennett Durham standing in, a pair of strikeouts today. Mansfield the only one to break through with 2 outs as Durham takes a called strike on the outside corner. Last inning, Riverside got a bit of a gift from Mansfield. There was a pass ball that allowed Qualls to advance to third. This time, Riverside trying to manufacture the winning run. The 0-1, bunt, caught. No one at second, but a great play by Whitaker over at first, diving on the turf to pick it.
And for Whitaker to crash in and to secure this grab, the ball is popped up off of Durham's bat. She gets her glove just underneath it. That is a full out effort.
So with 2 away in the bottom of the 7th, the lineup turning over for Annalie Qualls. And a meeting in the circle as Coach Eveld out to talk to his infield. Coach Eakins with a couple of words for his offense as well, but this is just a conversation, Sydney, I would imagine, and you would too. Everyone know your assignment. When the ball is put into play, here is what we're doing. 2 outs, don't worry about that runner on second. You just get the out at first and get us out into the 8th.
Get the out at first. Play clean defense, make the routine play.
Can be easier said than done in these big moments. And so often the team that executes the smallest things in the big moments is the one that wins, and none gets bigger than this. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Annalie Qualls standing in. First pitch, taken for a called strike. Qualls 0 for 2 today, struck out in the first, flied out in the third, walked and scored in the 6th. The 0-1 just misses inside. And both teams certainly with some opportunities. Mansfield, 11 runners left on base today. They've had a handful in scoring position. Meanwhile, Riverside, they've been able to get runners on, haven't been able to move them into scoring position as frequently. The 1-1, pulled down the left side, foul. Inches away from a potential walk-off single.
And for Annalie Qualls, interesting in the batter's box, she has chosen to make the adjustment of scooting up in the box. That does make the pitch feel faster, but she's doing that so that she can ensure she's catching the ball before it breaks. Being towards the middle, the back of the box, that's when you're playing with catching the ball as it breaks.
A 1-2 count to the leadoff hitter for Riverside, Carly Jo Womack. The winning run is on second. Edwards, the 1-2. Rise ball fouled back out of play. That's a good pitch from Edwards, a better adjustment from Qualls. Qualls 39 hits on the season, 17 RBI. The 1-2, lifted down the left field line, but foul. That was a big swing by Annalie Qualls.
That is a huge swing by Qualls, and it's all due to the adjustment that she made moving up in the batter's box. She is catching the rise ball right as it's breaking. As you can see there, she gets her barrel to it right before the pitch actually starts to break. It is a huge swing.
And the 1-2 again. Off speed, fouled away. You had to know that was coming.
You had to know the off speed's coming after a few rise balls in a row.
Haven't seen Edwards go to it very often, hasn't needed to, but when you have a player sock a ball like that all the way down in this situation, you're getting off speed all day.
Off speed down and out, yes.
An absolute battle here inside the box between the junior Annalie Qualls and the ace for Mansfield, Allison Edwards, who has been stellar today. 14 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 run. Trying to get her team into extras here. The 1-2. Misses low and in, 2-2. Good at bat here from Qualls in a pressure situation. Carly Jo Womack standing on second. She worked a leadoff walk, stole second, has been stranded there. The 2-2. Fouled back again.
And for Annalie Qualls, this is a quality at bat. She's already sitting on the season at 58% quality at bats. That just shows the grittiness and aggressiveness that she composes in the box.
Quabs for Qualls, and would love to come through with a hit here as Riverside trying to go back to back. The 2-2. Popped out of play. So Qualls continuing to work inside the box as this at bat now into double digits. Mansfield struck in the 5th on a bases loaded walk. Riverside manufactured a run in the 6th. It was Qualls who scored the tying run. 11th pitch of the at bat. The 2-2. Off speed, tap to the left side, runner on the move. Qualls to first. scored! Able to get Qualls by a step. We will head to extra innings here on Forrest Field. It is 1-all. We go to the 8th inning. You are watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Civics education empowers us to be well-informed, active citizens and gives us the opportunity to change the world. Our educators have created tools for parents and teachers to help guide and engage children through the civics process during this election year. Discover ways to talk with your child about being a good citizen and how you can explore elections together with resources available at myarkansaspbs.org/civics.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car, to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
1, 2, 3, turn up! Whoa. It's going up in here! Let's go!
Well, still some conversation here in the 8th inning between the coaching staff as Riverside thought they had a 2-out single. Here's another look at it. Nice strong throw from short over to first. Qualls making her way down the line, the right foot on the bag. Call on the field was out, so it is what it is. Cindy, you and I thought she was safe, but matters neither here nor there as we are in the top of the 8th inning. So you will play international tiebreak rules, which is start with a runner on second. The last out of the inning is on second. Bunt shown, popped up to the left side, throw over to first, and gets away down the line. Mansfield will score as Trinity Triska comes across the plate in the top of the 8th inning. There may have been contact down the first base line as well as Triska was trying to get past the second baseman and Eakins, who was ranging over to make the grab. And if you are Riverside, it is, as of now, absolute heartbreak with the way the last 2 innings have played out. The throw from Biggers, and that is the left arm of Eakins going right into the helmet. As there was a collision trying to get to the ball. With a runner on first now, Mansfield has taken a 2-1 lead. That was Kinley Van Meter who laid down the bunt and is on first as a result of the error. So a 1-0 count now to Shelby Fuller. Womack misses inside 2-0. Fuller 0 for 2 today, a ground out, a pop up, and a walk. As it is a 3-0 count now to Fuller. Kaylee Cox coming over to say a few words of encouragement to her pitcher.
And I've loved the leadership of Cox throughout the progression of this game.
3-0. Called strike at the knees. Trinity Triska started the inning on second in international tie-break rules. Kinley Van Meter laid down the bunt. Squibber up the middle, it's off of the glove. Everybody's safe. Mansfield applying pressure in the top of the 8th inning.
And for Mansfield, they are finding a way to get the job done. It all started with the bunt by Van Meter, and this ball that's hit back up the middle by Fuller. For Claire Womack, that's kind of the in-betweener of, do I go for this or do I let it go through, roll up the double play? She tried to glove it. It deflected off of her glove.
TJ Eakins back out into the circle. Talk to his team in the message. You can see him there with his hands It's all calmed down a little bit. An emotional end to the 7th inning for Riverside and Sydney. Unfortunately, so often you see that bleed over into the field, especially in these high-pressure situations, these high-stakes games like a state championship.
Absolutely, and it's very easy to start to get outside of yourself, and being out on defense, it's all about staying composed, staying the course. And for him to go out there and have the conversation, he's exactly right. Calm down. We're going to get a shot at this. Make the routine plays.
We have been blessed with a slate of fantastic state championship games this weekend here on the campus of the University of Arkansas. Taylor making state history, starting things off, their 7th consecutive state title. Farmington outlasting Pea Ridge. Bunt over to the left side, foul. Last night it was a 1-0 win for Bentonville over Harbor, making their first ever state title appearance here in this 2A state championship. We are in extras, and there is still one more to go. The 3A state final will happen tonight at 7 o'clock. The 0-1 off the outside corner, swung through 0-2.
And for Claire Womack, she has made the adjustment as the game has progressed, getting the ball more through the zone.
The 0-2 to London, lifted, snagged by Ridge. Throws it away into left center field. Both runners will advance. Ridge trying to double off the runner at second, but Cox could not get back to the bag in time. So Mansfield able to move both runners into scoring position.
Take another look at this swing, this line drive. It's in on her hands, off of the handle. And for Katie Ridge, coming off of the baseline just a little bit, that throw over to second to Cox to try to double it off. Tough play to make.
Turns the lineup over for Allison Edwards, who has been walked in all 4 of her plate appearances today. First pitch swinging for a strike. As Kinsley Ward at the plate. The 0-2 stays high and out. So the 1-2 to Ward. Takes that ball low, 2-2. So just to clarify, because there was a bit of confusion, Riverside went ahead and intentionally walked Allison Edwards. So they went ahead and put her on first. That is what brought Kinsley Ward to the plate. So bases are loaded, 1 away here in the top of the 8th inning. The 2-2 to Ward. Popped on the infield. Eakins is there for out number 2.
And that's a big pitch sequence by Womack. She was staying low in the zone with her drop curve mix. She utilized the low rise ball once she was ahead in the count to get the fly out. That is a huge moment with the bases being loaded and only 1 out.
Womack trying to limit the damage here in the top of the 8th inning. Trinity Triska, who was placed on second in international tiebreak, scored on a throwing error, as that stays high and out for the first ball to Ambria Whitaker. Whitaker 0 for 3 today, a strikeout, a walk, a pop-up, and a fielder's choice. And with international tiebreaks, Cindy, you know as well as I do, that 1 run never feels safe.
And it makes the difference, especially if you're able to get the bunt down and move the runner. It makes all the difference in the world.
Mansfield able to take a 2-1 lead here on the top of the 8th inning. Claire Womack trying to work out of a jam. Misses away, 2-1. Womack 7 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs. The 2-1 lifted down the right field line and foul. Mansfield today 3 for 17 with runners on, just 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Up and out, 3-2. That will release the runners. Full count, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning.
And this is a huge moment where one swing could bust this open.
A full count to the number 3 hitter for Mansfield. The payoff. Down the middle, line over the head of Biggers at third. 1 run is in. The second run on the way, the throw there, but it squirts away as Mansfield plates 2 more on the 2-out RBI single off the bat of Ambria Whitaker. Kinley Van Meter and Shelby Fuller coming in to beat the throw. It is a 4-1 lead for the Lady Tigers.
And this swing by Whitaker stepping up in a crucial moment. This pitch more down the heart of the plate. She does just enough to get her barrel out in front and driving it over the head of Biggers at third.
Edwards advancing to third on the play as Whitaker coming through with her first hit of the day. First pitch popped back. Cole Smith 0 for 3. A pair of pop-ups in the first and third, walked in the 5th, and a ground out in the 7th. The 0-1 swung on and missed through the drop, 0-2.
And for Womack today, she has been an absolute workhorse for Riverside. She has really been clutch in huge moments.
North of 150 pitches, that one lifted, playable in center field. Qualls makes the catch. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning, but Mansfield plates 3 in extras. The Lady Tigers lead it 4-1. Riverside need 3 runs to keep their season alive. You are watching the Centennial Bank State Baseball and Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month on Arkansas PBS.
I was actually right behind Jimi Hendrix's bell bottom there.
So the 70s fashion blocked your head out of this photo.
Exactly.
From bondage to battle.
What do you make of him?
It changes the game for my family.
I wish the American public understood war the way warriors understand war.
It's not just another job. You're going in a hot area and someone's going to die.
Only on Arkansas PBS.
Looks like we have some new help in the marketing department.
Action! Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. I think you need to work on your line better. How about you do it? Family owned, customer friendly. Family owned, no friendly. Come see us at Everett Buick GMC, I-30 at Alcoa exit. Buckle up, everybody!
We never gonna stop. We never gonna stop.
If you love seeing these high school sports championships live and also on demand, please consider making a gift to Arkansas PBS today. Go to myarpbs.org/donate or call 800-662-2386. In what has been a 2.5-hour epic, Mansfield plating 3 in the top of the 8th inning. The Lady Tigers on the cusp of capturing their first state title since 2012. All that is standing in their way, 3 outs against Riverside, who will start with Annalie Qualls on second base. She was called out to end the 7th inning. So it will be Cox, Berry, Ridge, and Womack. And if you are Riverside and you need runs, there's no better place to be in your lineup than 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely, and with the production of Cox, Berry, and Ridge, this is the perfect opportunity.
First pitch misses high. Riverside with need of more than 1 run, so probably not in the position now to trade outs for positioning in terms of runners. You have to stand in, swing away, manufacture some runs.
Needing the base hits here.
Need the base runners. The 1-0. Misses high, 2-0.
And in this moment, being down by 3 runs, it is patience at the plate, laying off of the rise. And when Edwards does bring it more through the middle of the zone, that's when you're in attack mode.
Hitters count at 2-0. The pitch. Catches the inside corner for a called strike. The Lady Tigers have been so close, so often, walked off by Tuckerman in 2021. Lost to Riverside last year in a 1-0 pitcher's duel. The 2-1. Rise ball lifted, foul, 2-2. Allison Edwards has spun a gem. 7 complete innings, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 5 walks, 14 strikeouts. North of 100 pitches here today for Edwards. The 2-2. Taken low, runner. Almost looked like she was going to go. Qualls with a big lead out at second as the count runs full.
She was definitely in the middle of the base path. Looked like she was going to go. It was a great read as the ball was low in the zone, but you don't want to run into an out in this situation.
So a full count to Cox with Qualls standing on second. The payoff. Lifted into shallow center field. Van Meter coming on, makes the catch. Standing just about 5 feet away from Calls for the first out.
And that's a huge moment right there. Runner at second, no outs to start the inning. That is a huge moment, getting that first out.
That brings to the plate Brooklyn Berry, who is 1 for 3 today. Singled in the first inning, struck out in the third, and popped out to Edwards in the 6th. Riverside just 2 hits today, 1 from Berry, the other was from Cox, as Berry first pitch swinging underneath the rise.
Now you can work.
The 0-1 on what will be the 135th pitch of the day for Edwards. Rise ball swung underneath, 0-2. I think if you're Riverside, you have to expect to see a steady diet of rise balls here.
They're going to continue to be rise balls to get the fly out or the swing and miss. And, you know, to talk about Edwards and Womack, they have been workhorses for their teams, not just today, but the entire season.
Riverside down to their final 2 outs. The 0-2. Lifted, foul, out of play.
And the best adjustment that I've seen today from this Riverside offense was Annalie Qualls at the top of the lineup, scooting up in the box. Such a solid adjustment that she made against Edwards to attack that rise ball.
Cox in battle mode, 0-2 in the count. Runner on second here in the 8th. The pitch, lifted, foul, out of play. So back-to-back foul balls. Mansfield was the first team to score in the 5th inning. They got a bases-loaded walk to plate Allison Edwards. Riverside answered back in the 6th. It was Qualls who worked a leadoff walk, stole second, moved to third on a pass ball, and scored on the RBI single by Kaylee Cox. That is how we stayed until the top of the 8th inning, where Mansfield got 3 runs. That one to the backstop. They're going to make Qualls go back to second. They're going to say it hit Cox on the foot.
Let's take another look at this pitch, just diving down. If I'm having to presume it strikes the back part of her back foot, let's take another look at this. Looks as though it skims right across the shoelaces.
No reaction from Cox, but she works her way down to first, or rather Berry, hit by pitch. So Berry on first after a hit by pitch. Qualls still standing on second as the last out of the 7th inning. Katie Ridge 0 for 3, a trio of strikeouts. First pitch misses low and in.
Get ahead.
Tying run at the plate for the Lady Rebels.
And this is who you want if you're the Lady Rebels. You want Katie Ridge at the plate with the power, the power swing that she has.
Ridge, a .460 hitter, 40 hits on the year, swings through the rise ball there, 1-1. Of the 20 home runs on the season for Riverside, Katie Ridge has 11. Leading RBI producer, 37 on the year. But Edwards has had her number so far today. The 1-1, fouled back out of play, 0-2.
And for Katie Ridge, throughout the progression of the 3 at-bats that she's had today, now the 4, she has taken absolute hacks. It's just the front side that's leaking out just a little bit that's causing her to not stay on that rise ball.
If you're gonna go down swinging, get your money's worth. Riverside needing 3 runs to extend their season. 1 away and a 1-2 count to the 4-hole hitter. Lifted, playable, back behind, short, Ward has it, and now Mansfield just 1 out away from their first state championship since 2012, and it will bring to the plate Claire Womack.
And it's coming down to Claire Womack, who has just absolutely laid everything out there in the circle.
Well, we knew it was going to come down to the pitchers today, and it is fitting that in the bottom of the 8th inning is ace versus ace. The first pitch off the outside corner for a ball. Womack 0 for 1 today, flew out in the 4th and has walked 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 6th. She represents the tying run. Edwards backs off of the rubber. He's ready to re-go. The 1-0. Womack, back up the middle, it sneaks through. Ball's going to be raved around. The throw to the plate not in time as Womack comes through with a 2-out RBI single. Riverside staying alive.
And for Claire Womack, not today. She's finding a way to stay alive for Riverside. That ball was driven back up the middle. Let's take another look at the swing. Rise ball that she gets her barrel on top of, driving it back up the middle past Triska to add another run to the board.
Qual scores for the 2nd time today. And so now coming to the plate, Riley Eakins, the sophomore second baseman, the go-ahead run. First pitch, rise ball stays up. Eakins 0 for 2. She walked in the 2nd, but just struck out in the 4th and the 6th. Brooklyn Berry is on 2nd after being hit by a pitch. Claire Womack on 1st with the RBI single. The 1-0. Lifted foul out of play, 1-1. Tense moments here at Forrest Field. Riverside trying to tie things up here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Mansfield trying to avenge their state championship loss from a season ago. Eakins steps out of the box. Edwards, the 1-1. Called a strike on the outside corner, and now Riverside down to the final strike of their season. The 1-2. Stays outside. Tough take for Eakins, but the count even at 2-all. Once again, Edwards steps off of the rubber. Eakins steps out of the box. The count 2-2 to the sophomore second baseman from Riverside. Edwards, the pitch. Lifted, foul, third base line unplayable as Eakins stays alive. Bottom of the 8th inning, Riverside 2 on, trailing by 2. Eakins, the winning run at the plate. The 2-2. Lifted, in play, giving chase. Nelson just runs out of room, and Eakins barely staying alive.
And the hustle by Nelson and Smith, you could see it in their eyes. They wanted it, they were ready to go after it. But for Eakins, she's battling, she's throwing her punches.
Edwards north of 150 pitches today. The 2-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner, and for the first time in more than a decade, the Mansfield Lady Tigers are the state champions.
And the excitement for Mansfield getting the state title, it was the same scenario of last season. They had a chance for revenge, and they did it. They go down as the 2A state champions. All-around pitching performance by Allison Edwards, and an ITB, the offense, they dug in and they found a way to get the job done.
A 4-2 win in extra innings for Mansfield behind a gem by Allison Edwards. We will step away here at Ferris Field, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the trophy presentation here on Arkansas PBS Sports.
The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Over 2,500 team members across 17 local electric distribution co-ops, powering homes, farms, and industries somewhere across Arkansas. We are the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Power and people.
Looks like we have some new help in the marketing department.
Action! Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. I think you need to work on your line better. How about you do it? Family-owned, customer-friendly. Family-owned, no friendly. Come see us at Everett Buick GMC, I-30 at Alcoa exit. Buckle up, everybody!
When you choose Conway Regional, you're choosing a healthcare partner rooted in your community. With 9 primary care locations in 5 counties, we believe in building lasting relationships centered on trust and personalized care. Let our family care for yours.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car, to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
Southern Loft is a proud sponsor of Arkansas PBS. It is our mission to tell your story by adding color with our furniture. And that's why Southern Loft is a different kind of furniture store. For more information, go to mysouthernloft.com.
I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family. And part of taking care of them is using a bank that takes care of us. That's why I use Centennial Bank, a strong institution for an uncertain economy. I know them and I trust them. They have a strong financial foundation, which means that my money and our future is never in doubt. Life is busy, and there's plenty of things to worry about. My bank isn't one of them.
Centennial Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At the new Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, we're dedicated to providing Arkansans with a brighter future they deserve.
Thanks to UAMS Health, I'm now pain-free, and I'm planning my next big trip.
Vaping costs over $1,500.
Welcome back to Forrest Field as the Mansfield Lady Tigers capture the 2A state championship. And Cindy, it was only fitting on a day where Allison Edwards was so dominant inside the circle that she ended the game with her 15th strikeout of the day.
And for Allison Edwards, she was dominant. And for Mansfield, they were so close last season, but this season they found a way to get the job done. And this is how it happened in this fashion right here. It was the 5th inning that really got things going with the bases loaded walk that got Mansfield on the board. And then let's take a look at this. It's just, the play that was made over the head, that's what got Riverside on the board. And it's the 8th inning, the ITB. It's the bunt that got down by Van Meter that was able to get things started. The throw down the right field line, that is what scored Triska. And it was this big time single that was hit by Fuller to drive in yet another run to add more run support. And you could tell the excitement. Being in an ITB, 1 run in itself is enough to get the job done. But then it was Womack. She dug in to end the game with a strikeout, looking her 15th of the game. And just to talk about a great career for for Edwards and the rest of the team.
Allison Edwards leading the Mansfield Tigers for their first state championship since 2012. They had been so close the 3rd time in the last 4 years. The 3rd time is the charm. They are your 2A state champions. This one nearly a 3-hour epic, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next in less than 10 minutes, we will get started with the 2A baseball state championship over at Bear Stadium. That is between Woodlawn and Ouachita as we are inching closer to the final day of our state championships here for softball and baseball. This one, a win for Mansfield 4-2 over the Riverside Rebels in extra innings. So for Sydney Parley and our entire Arkansas PBS crew here in Conway, I'm Dorian Kraft saying so long from Forrest Field at Natalie Schock Stadium, where the final score is Mansfield 4, Riverside 2.